welcome to the stream. Good morning, Grace. I rewatched the Father's Day struggle session. Great content. I did not rewatch the call-ins, but the actual struggle session stuff was, I mean, that was just choice, man. Okay, let's see. What's today? Today's Sightings Day, but we're not going to actually move forward in season 3. I found a new source for episodes, so we're going to go back to season 1. We never saw episodes 3, 4, and 5. I had that in my notes. But so we're going to go back and watch episodes 3, 4, and 5 from season 2, or from season 1, I'm sorry. And then I think we should have time after that to finish the episodes we missed in season 2. So by the end of this stream, hopefully we will have all of season 1 and all of season 2 will be available with commentary like in the live playlists. But anyway, we need every episode, please. Yeah, that's what I'm working on. What's up, Russell Plunge? So yeah, this will take care of, we'll be done with season 1 and 2. This will fill in the gaps there. And it doesn't look like there's any in season 3, to be honest. I didn't see any missing episodes on the ones that we've been watching, but at least it'll be good to get caught up on what we're missing. I saw one of the episodes is about volcanoes, which I had to get involved in. What's up, F Wood? I don't think did I watch any. Oh, I did actually watch something yesterday. I watched I guess Ava is in a feud with Jedi Rich over, Ava posts those, you know what, she posts those, you know, whatever, the detractor videos, and I guess Rich did a takedown notice. I don't think he struck her, because I think it happened on like multiple videos or multiple segments of a video, but I don't know whether she got struck or whether she got claimed, but there's like all kinds of drama between those two. Ava has said in chat that she was going to bankrupt the Jedi, that, you know, they'd be done, that Rich is going to go broke fighting this lawsuit. Who's backing Ava in the lawsuit is what I want to know. Who's funding these things? Or is this a lull suit? You know what I mean? I think that's all the news I have, though. Well, we'll talk about it. I got something to talk to you about at the end of the stream, but let's dive into Sightings, season 1, episode 3. What's up, ATF Media? It does, man. This is episode 3, which is it has a climate change warning. Mysteries of the Earth. Okay? This is a short episode.
Tonight on Sightings, Stonehenge, the pyramids, the Bermuda Triangle. Do these places possess deadly mystical powers?
Once you experience it, you have a lot of respect for it.
Are these unexplainable phenomena proof of a greater force?
They're somehow produced by the Earth itself.
Or are they a result of extraterrestrial contact?
It seems strange. So many huge markings were made on the Earth.
At that point, it started to appear.
They had large, dark eyes.
The Forbidden
like
Knowledge,
hands.
episodes 3, 4, and 5.
I began sensing and knowing and feeling.
I do believe in life after death. I mean, I've been there.
We have not scratched the surface of what the mind can do.
It's a connection with the unknown.
Mysteries of the Earth.
What is the purpose of immense stones carefully arranged on an English country plain? Why are there earthen mounds in the southeastern United States? Who built
earthen
great
mounds?
granite pyramids in the jungles of Central America? How these places were created remains a mystery. But perhaps the greater mystery is why these places continue to fascinate us on such a profound level.
The great forces of the Earth. Some are familiar and essential, such as the
George is going to reboot Sightings.
force of gravity or the dramatic forces of nature. But then there are darker, mysterious forces, feared and revered by ancient cultures. Strange energies that science is still at a loss to explain. The forces of the Earth are full of bizarre quirks that can cause destruction, even death. 25 degrees north latitude, 70 degrees west longitude.
Out on the
the
high
center of one
seas,
of the
Boyd
most
pirates.
mysterious places on Earth, a so-called energy vortex of destruction. It's called the Bermuda Triangle. For 500 years, since Christopher Columbus first wrote about seeing weird phenomena here, more than 1,000 ships and planes have disappeared without a trace.
We have no evidence whatsoever.
I think he visited one place that was supposedly haunted, but I don't think he spent any time, you know. I don't think George believes in any of that stuff. I would say George is probably a very far right, conservative, fundamentalist Christian at this point.
That
Yeah, I mean, you could see a lot. He has some pretty strong views, but George just strikes me as that way.
makes
I don't think he believes in any, and he probably believes in like angels and, you know, demons and shit like that, but probably not ghosts.
the region described as a Bermuda Triangle any more dangerous than any other set of waters in the world.
But that wasn't the case for Flight 19.
I love those books. I check them out from the library every once in a while. Oh my God! Speaking of the library, I went there yesterday and I was making a video because I always check through. There's like a pull cart out front of the library and you can like just leave shit on it as long as it's books or movies. So I was just like, oh, maybe it'd be cool to start making videos showing people what people are donating to the library. And there was like a box full of VHS tapes that were like shit recorded off a TV. And they have like, whoever did it clipped out the news clipping. Like, you know how it would show you in the paper what was going to be on TV that night? They had like included the newspaper clipping of whatever movie was on the VHS tape. So I talked to them and they ended up letting me take them. But I'm going to make a video pretty soon. Like, we'll look at what all the movies are on the tapes.
December 5th, 1945, 2 p.m. 5 Navy Avenger bombers leave Fort Lauderdale, Florida on a routine training mission. The pilots and crew are all...
Exactly, Ananjay. I wish somebody had told me in my 20s that George Dorunda doesn't believe in the paranormal, because I've spent all this time looking for something that doesn't even exist.
all experienced airmen. The day is clear and mild. But at 4 p.m., the Avengers begin sending out distress calls. Then, abruptly, the SOS calls stop. The crewmen are
because that's
never
easy
heard from
content,
again.
right? That most
This
people
missing
would probably
squadron,
watch.
known as
So the
Flight
fact that
19,
he doesn't ever
becomes
do
one
it.
of the greatest air mysteries
Has there... I think we did go to one Halloween thing, maybe, where he showed some costumes, or was that a clown parade? I can't remember.
of all time.
Was there a clown
5 planes
parade?
and 13 airmen vanish in the Bermuda Triangle. Did a sudden change in weather cause the disappearance of Flight 19? Did they run into a bizarre geomagnetic force field? Or was it pilot error? But pilot error in all 5 planes at the same time? Virtually impossible. Many theories have been proposed since 1945. The planes were abducted by UFOs, sucked into a parallel universe, or even fell victim to death rays from Atlantis. 45 years later, a startling development. In August 1991, a barnacle-encrusted Navy Avenger was recovered from the treacherous Bermuda
Barnacle-encrusted.
Triangle. Does this bomber hold clues to the fate of Flight 19?
Yeah, I
When
mean,
this
I
Avenger
remember
broke
something.
the surface of the ocean, it was the most spectacular thing I'd ever seen.
But don't you think, I do think it says something that George never took us through a haunted house. You know, like back in that day, they probably still had the JCs, right? And stuff like that, if you're in America, or if you know what that is. But like, certainly they had some kind of community, you know, haunted house. That's gold content. So maybe he's anti-ghost. He's just not going to promote it.
In my life, it was like bringing a body out of the ocean. The mystery still lingers. We're still working on it today.
I like stuff that doesn't exactly debunk it, like that leaves a little bit of door open, because I like having the conversations about this stuff, but I don't believe in a lot of it, but I still think it's really fun just to like talk about it.
A group called
I wouldn't want to like know 100% for sure that like ghosts were fake, you know what I mean? I think that would kind of like ruin it.
Project 19 is dedicated to solving the mystery. But retrieving the Navy plane also means they must work in the deadly Bermuda Triangle.
There are forces out there. There is a sense of energy about you all the time. You don't know what's going to happen out there.
And as the recovery team works to determine if this Avenger was part of Flight 19, other sailors and pilots who dared to venture into the Bermuda
Yo,
Triangle
what's up, Vinny Sluggo?
continue to be plagued by the
I saw your
phenomenon.
new video.
I took controls of the
Nighttime McDonald's vibes. Loved it. We'll probably watch that one on Saturday. It's me. I like getting paid. EFD 306. Somebody flagged my I think I only had one EFD video that was still public, and somebody flagged it, so I had to take it. I had to like make it non-visible or whatever. But it's so random. Like it's the clip's been up for like months and months, and I guess somebody flagged it.
PBY about 2 hours out of Bermuda, and it really was a beautiful day.
As I say, we could not see the wingtips of the airplane.
He didn't want to be. Oh, George. Yeah, okay. He might not have wanted the haunted house. What do they call them now? Haunters. He wouldn't want the haunters to touch him.
And it never dawned on me I was in the Bermuda Triangle.
He'd have made Doug Locke go through.
On June 11th, 1986, Martin Caden and his wife Dee Dee were part of a flight commemorating the history of a PBY flying boat called the Catalina. The Cadens are both seasoned pilots with over 50 years.
Now, I think Dave Barcelo made a T-shirt based off of the 75th, the diamond anniversary of this guy.
Of experience between them. On June 11th, Dee Dee was at the control.
No, I don't. That's not what I'm saying. It wasn't flagged for like copyright or a takedown notice. It was flagged for content. You know what I mean? Like somebody was offended by the content. It wasn't like whether or not I could have it up. EFD's never ever told me to take a clip down.
Suddenly,
he told me to stop talking about him, but I mean, you know.
Plane's instruments stopped functioning.
Well, stop talking about the money.
The magnetic compass was spinning. It was totally useless. We had nothing from the outside world.
Ooh, D.D. Caden.
We were in limbo.
We believe there was a tremendous electromagnetic effect. We don't know for sure. But we had $2 million worth of the world's finest electronic instruments just completely crap out on us.
Outside the window of the plane, it looked like you were flying an eggnog. It looked like flying through, like an
flying an eggnog.
You lose all reference to what's right, what's left, what's up, what's down, and many airplanes go into an uncontrolled spin and just come out of the sky and smash into the ocean.
The EFD stuff, if we want to have it like in the archive, I should probably just during a live, I should just play them and react to them, and we can discuss them, and that way I can just re-upload that like entire block of transformative content, and then we wouldn't have to worry about it, because if it was TOS adjacent, the fact that we're showing it to criticize and educate and analyze should keep it safe.
It was very sudden when we came out of it. And it was about an hour, maybe an hour and a half out of Jacksonville.
Lay Geno. He don't remember.
And little by
me.
little, all the instruments began to come back online. The gyros stopped spinning, the magnetic compass settled down, and all the electronic devices came back in and were working perfectly.
That documentary about him, though, was
Martin
great.
and Dee Dee Caden survived because of sheer luck. Perhaps, like the Cadens, Flight 19's instruments failed, but the pilot's luck ran out. If that's true, then what is the source of a force powerful enough to make technology useless?
It's hard for science to go out there and document it and dissect it.
I should say, too, I'm definitely not accusing anybody, because in all honesty, a lot of the stuff that I post is age-gated, so by YouTube's insistence, so I'm not surprised that, like, something might have got picked up by, like, the YouTube whatever, you know what I mean? Because, I mean, they're already marking, like, almost all the content as, like, that you have to be, like, 18 or whatever the age gate is.
It doesn't happen all the time. But boy, once you experience it, you have a lot of respect for it.
It is pretty terrifying if you don't have any context.
We feel the unpredictable forces of the Earth in the violent eruption of a volcano or a sudden high-magnitude earthquake. These events remind us of the tremendous energy smoldering just beneath our feet.
The vegan patriot content is almost always age-gated.
To such an intensity that it could transform the entire Earth in an instant. It's 2 p.m. in Los Angeles, and you're stuck on the freeway. Just outside Omaha, it's 4 p.m., and you're finishing up the day's farm work.
Look at that, south to west,
It's 5 p.m. in New York City, and you're on your way home. Then, at exactly the same instant in time, everyone in the United States, everyone on the planet, shares one fatal experience, an unspeakable catastrophe. On May 5th, in the year 2000, the entire Earth turns on its side.
Okay, ATF Media, have you seen any of the clips that I've shown of that guy who looks like he's part of the Fellowship of the Ring that sits in his living room with a 65-inch TV and yells about his court case? You have to admit that that guy is good.
On 5/5/2000, should the polar
Richard
ice cap
No
go
One.
in motion,
ice, the
first
ultimate
thing
disaster.
that will happen
Wow, what a
will
political
be
statement
go
to
in
make.
motion. 2000.
Can we get this guy in Guantanamo?
Should the polar ice cap
Richard,
go in
no
motion,
one.
the first thing that will happen will be tremendous earthquakes worldwide.
Oh, shit.
Gigantic, 8, 9, 10 on the Richter scale. And at the same time, volcanic activity erupting around the seismic regions of the Earth. And the wind, as the Earth shifts, will rage wild.
I like to say that he could be part of the Fellowship of the Ring because I feel like that puts the burden on you guys which part of the fellowship I'm talking about. So it's not so much a judgment call on my part, you know what I mean?
Trying to seek a new equilibrium.
I'm ethically
so
clean
that
on
wind
it.
speeds of 200-300 miles an hour will literally destroy most dwellings on the surface.
Is it possible for the Earth to turn on its side? Could Los Angeles become the new South Pole? Yes, says author Richard Noon. His research indicates that a polar shift is not just possible, it's inevitable, caused by a massive accumulation of ice at the South Pole, a theory introduced in part by Albert Einstein.
Einstein found that the weight of the ice, the mass, it could be stone, ice, junk cars, whatever, it takes approximately 1,700 pounds of
honestly, it was pretty grim. Like, I will admit it, but I don't know. There's just something about it. I completely understand, though. Like, fish tank is one of those things that doesn't, for whatever reason, mesh real well with the rest of stuff. But like I get what you're saying.
Pressure per square inch to fracture.
I wouldn't call it a positive experience to watch
Antarctica
it.
Anyway.
But I'm addicted to it.
Increases in height and size. The weight of it is beyond human comprehension, and it depresses the ground under the ice. The ground under the ice, in turn, squeezes out the plastic viscous molten material underneath. And
yeah, last night was pretty
viscous
crazy.
molten material has to go somewhere, and it moves through the Earth's fault lines.
I understand, even if for whatever reason, like there's zero like expectations on my. I just figure if I'm showing something that if you want to if I'm showing something and you want to watch it. Like, I'm not one of those people who's like, oh my God, why isn't whatever. I did comment on primetime tanking, but that's only because it's been such an epic like swan dive. Like, it just really stood out to me. But like, I'm not sitting at home being like, well, Sightings is doing these numbers, but intoxicated women are doing these numbers. Like, if it's I wouldn't want anybody to sit through like something that they're not getting something out of.
And this creates more earthquake and volcanic activity, which is what you see today.
Many highly active volcanoes have erupted since Mount St. Helens.
This is the screen. This is the thumbnail that I wanted.
In 1980, and in a recent one-month period, 5 earthquakes of a 6.5 magnitude or greater have shifted the Earth worldwide.
We're in the middle of an environmental collapse. A shift of the crust of the Earth takes approximately 3 days to complete.
Oh, that is
and
so
with
cool.
it, the destruction of most places on Earth.
Within a 3-day period, everything that we now take for granted could violently disappear. The skyscrapers of Los Angeles, gone. The Golden Gate Bridge, twisted wreckage covered in ice. The Washington Monument, a mass of rubble. This is just one man's theory. But the buildup.
It was similar to this when I was on Twitch. Well, my later time on Twitch, but like because they're so lax on copyright, like we would watch like Lifetime movies, regular movies. We could watch like WWF wrestling. We just watch what we were watching like DVDs of weird ass like documentaries and stuff.
Of ice at the poles is one fact in Noon's
Never
theory,
hear about the Earth
confirmed
shifting
by some geologists.
Presently, ice does build up at
That's saying, hey Foreman, what do you think about that? Do you think that there's a pretty good? What do you think the odds are that the Earth is going to start shifting in such a way that Los Angeles is now the new South Pole?
the South Pole, but it doesn't build up arbitrarily high because the Earth's
UCLA,
crust is plastic,
that sounds like a
and
made-up
it warps
university.
down as a consequence of the weight of the new snow and ice that's being piled up. So in reality, the whole depth of the ice cap doesn't get all that much bigger than it is right now.
And what about the greenhouse effect? Haven't aerosol cans and industrial pollution created a hole in the ozone layer that's
You think it
warming
shifted
the
in
Earth and
2016,
melting
not
polar ice?
2012?
What happens is, at least early on,
Or
in
the
warming
90s, if you're a
situation on
Heaven's
the Earth,
Gator.
the natural
Heaven's Gate
convection
truther.
currents in the atmosphere
Oh,
itself carry
Suzanne's
that warm,
brother,
moist air
nice.
to the poles where the moisture condenses and falls as snow.
Sightings, Dorinda, and the wrestling vest.
Geology, the publication of the Geological Society of America, has recently published research that adds some substance to Noon's theory. But the idea of a radical, instantaneous polar shift is still considered extremely controversial.
The theory that's proposed here is the entire crust slides around catastrophically.
Richard
And there's
Terrible.
really no geologic evidence. There's no any kind of climatic, geochemical, geophysical evidence that shows that that's even possible.
Oh, he made. Oh, never mind.
The
I'm an
supposed
idiot.
trigger for this
We're
global
talking about the
nightmare
climate.
will be a rare
Whoa.
alignment of all 9 planets on May 5th, 2000. Just 8
Man, I was
years from
probably
now.
watching this
Noon
back in the day
believes
and being
this
like,
will
man,
be
this
the
is
fatal gravitational
visuals
yank
can't get
of
any
the
better
planet.
than this.
A preposterous theory? Perhaps. But just remember, only 40 years ago, no one believed the universe began with a Big Bang. Today, it's scientific fact.
There's the thumbnail.
Coming up,
Whoa.
a woman who claims to have witnessed unexplainable natural phenomena.
I saw this beautiful ball of light in the sky.
Certain sites fascinate us because we don't know who created them or even why they're there. And then there are...
Maybe South to West, you might remember. I think when we watched the episodes after this one, I feel like at some point we saw Stonehenge and they made reference to the fact that they had been there before. But I feel like I could be imagining that, but I think that happened.
even more enigmatic places where strange
Smoking and
phenomena
pooping.
are believed to reveal themselves again and again.
Remember that movie, The Nutty Professor?
Massive prehistoric stone monuments.
The Eddie Murphy one.
Many people experience a strange feeling of fascination at these sites.
She was walking with a purpose.
It may be the
man.
same type of feeling that inspired the ancients to create them in the first place. When visitors have strange, unsettling feelings, some scientists believe they could be a real physical reaction to unusually high levels of radiation or electromagnetism emanating from the Earth.
These places have been deliberately placed in these locations of great natural power and energy.
Wow.
And
Can
the
you
gold
still walk
stone
up to
circles in England
Stonehenge?
and Wales that we've closely checked all occur either immediately alongside a geological fault line or in a very close proximity. And we find this sort of pattern throughout the world where we've been able to check it. And it tells
looks like
us that
a Martin
people
Mull
did
improv
choose
character.
specific areas of the Earth's surface
You've been to Stonehenge?
because
I
they
bet,
had
man.
certain energetic properties about them.
Paul Devereaux is a researcher in the field of Earth mysteries. He investigates the secret energies present at ancient sites, like this bizarre collection of immense stones
They won't let you
known
close?
as the Avebury
Oh, that
Henge,
sucks.
erected 4,000 years ago. For the
Instagram
last
ruined
10
everything.
years, there have been many reports of unusual lights hovering overhead. They're clearly not UFOs, but frightening apparitions created right here on Earth. Lifelong Avebury resident Heather Garland came
Let's
face to
reuse
face
the
with the
same
lights
clip.
on a clear night in 1987.
I saw this beautiful ball of light in the sky, and I thought,
Hey, Vinny.
oh, lovely full.
Did you see either during Boyd Watch or on yesterday's stream that old guy with the big TV and he's got his wife's on the couch and he's yelling at the camera? If you remember that guy, what do you think about him?
Moon, because I love the full moon and starry night. And I watched it and I thought, oh no, ye gods, it's not the full moon. The moon comes in the opposite direction. When it got to the stones, it turned and started coming towards me. And with that, it came right down to the grass and just went out.
These lights, nobody
Yes.
knows what they are. They're rather exotic phenomena.
Nicky knew.
They're not UFOs. They're
Nicky
not flying
knew it was at
saucers.
Stonehenge.
They're somehow produced by the Earth itself. I call them Earth lights.
Near the seaside town of
She's like, oh, I just wish Grace would come to Stonehenge. She could really get a life together here. Everything aligns here, you know.
Penzance in southwest England, a mysterious
Come to
light
the ley
phenomenon has been
lines.
seen at this 3,000
Angry
euro
guy, he was pretty
subterranean
angry.
chamber known as the Bole Fugu. It continues to
Okay, do you think your dad would give that guy a ride to McDonald's?
mystify visitors. Joe May is a teacher in Penzance and spent a night in the dark underground cavern in June 1988.
Just before the point of dawn,
Joe
I
May.
was awake,
Come on, these names.
and I thought I could see.
Look at the great shot, though. It looks
spiraling
awesome.
movements is the only way I could describe them. A sort of soup of spirals swirling around. And they were very like the shapes on the tips of your fingers. They suddenly exploded into stars. There were lots of little pinpricks of light with them flowing around.
Okay, but would your dad give me a ride to McDonald's?
Swirling carvings found in primitive dwellings around the world bear an uncanny resemblance to the site Joe May describes. Could that mean that people saw these same lights 3,000 years ago? Another resident of Penzance, artist Gabrielle Hawks, is drawn to the Bole Fugu by its mysterious energy.
It happened some years ago when I was camping.
Oh, listen, I put all everything I know about these things, I put it into the paintings. But I can't just let you look at them. You got to buy them. What's the money over there? Like, ooh, they're 80 pence.
In the grounds here, I came into the Fugu.
He would give me a ride? Okay, but
mysterious as usual.
Would he front the money for me to get a drink or a dessert?
I kind of began to lose myself in a way. So a feeling of timelessness for a few seconds.
Ooh,
And
I hung
then,
these party
quite
lights
suddenly,
up down here in the cave.
It was as though a scene unfolded in front of me. It consisted of a scene in bright daylight of a church and a churchyard.
I think it was that OPC Dawn.
I remember the colours were very bright. In some ways, it was like a dream, but at the same time, I was very much awake. I was aware of standing there, thinking, "Gosh, this is extremely odd. You know, what is going on?"
Do these strange Earth energies explain why ancient people selected these locations for their monuments?
I'll have to ask him. All right. Jeannie Wasung is the ultimate trad. She knew how to be a little bit, flirtatious and peacocky without going over the top with it. And then she disappeared entirely. Like, she's not on the internet. What do people always say to Josie and the other, the trad women, is that trad women are not on the internet, right?
In the late 20th century, beginning to understand scientifically what our ancestors understood.
I'm going to be like, listen, Vinny's dad, can you front me for a
Coming up,
large Coke?
Are these land markings a result of extraterrestrial contact?
Vinny, should I say, do you think I should open with, should I say, Mr. Slugga? Can you front me the money for a large Coke?
The surface of the Earth
or does he want it to be less formal?
800,000 square miles.
Like, hey, bro.
And even though every square mile has been mapped and scrutinized, there are still places of mystery that defy explanation.
Is your dad on Discord? I want to add him to a call tomorrow with me and
covered their
Bethadone.
arid landscape with enormous, precise drawings carved into the rocky desert floor. Photographer Marilyn Bridges came here in 1976.
Oh boy,
that first
wow.
journey to Nazca changed her
Great
life
ATF
forever.
media.
She's
That's
driven
really,
by her need
George
to
is going to
understand
see
what
that
drove the
ATF
ancient-
media, and this is not going to help me get my interview. Jeff Janik.
Nazcas to create these designs 2,000 years ago.
I feel like I've had a calling in a way. I did photography from the ground for a long time, and when I was in Peru.
If the show doesn't get any better, I'm going to make a Shamu-style documentary on George Dorunda in prime time and call it the darkest show on YouTube.
I heard about these lines of Nazca markings that were so huge
Oh, that is kinda
that
cool
you could
looking,
only
though.
see them from the air. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I gave myself this mission
Father's Day
to
follow-up
photograph
stream.
these and bring them back and share them with people. To say, look, this is what ancient man was doing with the land. Maybe something can be deciphered.
Perhaps most puzzling of all, why are the hundreds of designs here so enormous? There are animal figures more than 400 feet long. Some
Animal
patterns
figures.
extend for over a half mile. Since the Nazca couldn't fly, who were they trying to reach out to with these huge designs?
I'm looking at a lot of these markings and structures as if like a god would look at them.
Overhead shot of
Drawings
Raiden
for the
from
eyes of the
Mortal
gods
Kombat.
is just one theory.
Big
Others believe the
chainsaw.
designs formed an astronomical calendar. But because of their size, some believe these markings were actually
That's in America?
UFO
You can
landing
just go
strips.
see that?
It seems strange that about 2,000 to 3,000 years ago, so many huge markings were
These
made
are
on
so
the Earth,
amazing.
whether they were dug into the Earth or
Why do the hot ones have to be
raised
crazy?
from
You
the
can't
Earth.
give everybody everything.
Peru isn't the only place Marilyn Bridges has found huge landmarks visible only from the air.
Here in
For 20
Uxmal.
years, she has tried to capture on film the images that ancient cultures have left behind. It is for her an obsession with deciphering the messages of the past.
Look at how much
this
effort you had to go through back in the day to get an overhead shot. You know what I mean? You had to go and you had to find somebody that had a plane, could pilot it, was willing to take you. Then you had to have the equipment to get decent photography, and now you could do it with like a $50 drone.
She routinely risks her life working from dangerously low altitudes.
I can't be your pen pal,
My
Vinny, but
flying
I can
is
we can
almost
talk on here, buddy.
aerobatic. We have to
And your
slow
dad
the
can
plane
join
down
the
to
Discord
stall
call with me and
speed.
Bethadone.
Sometimes we even go into a stall.
Stalling
Serpent
a plane
Mound
at an
meetup.
altitude of only 200 feet reveals more than just an
She's
intellectual
dressed like
curiosity.
she's on a
It's an irresistible
firing
need
team,
to
a
understand
fire team in
what
Aliens.
ancient people had an irresistible need to create.
There's a point that it strikes inside of people that maybe it takes them
Pyramid
back in time to their heritage, to where we've all come from.
Coming up, what mystical powers are hidden beneath the Black Hills?
Vinny, I use
Our
a lot of
legends
drugs.
tell
I
us
would
that
never
the Black
remember to write
Hills is
anybody
the heart
back.
of our home, the home of our heart.
For the Lakota Indians, the entire earth is revered. But only one place is truly sacred. They believe the Black Hills of South Dakota are the spiritual heart of the planet.
As I have learned about the Black Hills,
She's probably
from other
the most
tribes
attractive
scattered
woman, I think, on
throughout this land, throughout
on
America,
Sightings.
or what we call the Turtle Island. What they understand also is that is a center. The Black Hills are a center.
Modern culture
Or
has
what?
also been drawn to the Black Hills, but for reasons that are far from spiritual. Gold and uranium are mined here, and over 50 million visitors have marveled
Vinny, we
at
need
its
you to get
man-made
some footage
wonders.
of Mount Rushmore, brother, with that
The Black
8K
Hills
cam.
booms like a heartbeat.
Can you
We say
imagine?
it's the heartbeat of the earth. Once
Oh, yeah,
mining
Charlotte Blackout.
started heavily in the 1880s,
Look at that cool-ass thing behind her.
coinciding with the time that we were forbidden to practice our religion. That booming got further and further and further apart.
We're not, with respect to this entity, to this earth, to this mother who
What a
gives us
great
everything.
episode.
We say that if the heart cannot live,
I can't believe we
the
missed
earth
this.
can't live. Now, we believe that protecting the Black Hills has to do with all life, all of the children of the earth. When the Black Hills dies, the earth will die.
A startling photograph taken from space, a
Showed
God's
that the
eye
Black
view, so to
Hills
speak,
are dying.
may prove the Lakota warning is right. The Black Hills are shaped like a human heart.
Are
Primitive
shaped
cultures
like an
and
eggplant.
religions worship the earth and man's connection to it. Perhaps
Worship
by
the
studying
eggplant.
their mysterious monuments and seeking an understanding of Earth's unexplained forces, we'll rediscover our own connection to the planet. The distant past may be the key to protecting our immediate future. For Sightings, I'm Tim White. Good night.
Okay, so I don't think I remembered this, but apparently they didn't have that number up from the beginning, because I was going to try to see if there was another price change that we missed, but they didn't even advertise it on this episode. What a great episode, by the way.
Tomorrow night, for the first time ever, you'll see recordings of convicted mobster John Gotti's secret mafia initiation ceremony, taped by the FBI. Hear the never-before-told story of the last Godfather, the John Gotti story, a one-hour special tomorrow after Cops. Now, stay tuned for Hidden Video.
I forgot I did a couple shots of cannabis-infused, well, it was called Dr. Quencher, but it was like their Dr. Pepper. I was wondering like why I felt like I was getting higher than expected. He's like, I want to make a show about ghosts. Hey. Henry, I need some money. I want to talk about the Black Hills and how they're shaped like a human lung. Hey. Yeah, mine.
The following program deals with a controversial subject. The theories.
Okay, so this is another one that we missed. This is episode 4, I think. Yeah, and this one is UFO contact.
Are not the only possible interpretation. The viewer is invited to make a judgment based on all available information. Tonight on Sightings, has this team of investigators captured proof of UFOs on videotape?
I'm a pure skeptic, and to see what I just saw.
This guy's great. That Dr. Quencher tasted exactly like Dr. Pepper for like 2 seconds, and I was like, oh man, this is so good. And then the weed aftertaste was like this like rampaging herd of buffalo of just absolute make me want to throw up.
I can't be skeptical.
Do the latest cases of abduction reveal frightening alien motives?
Women begin to experience the gynecological examinations done by the aliens on them.
No.
And could our own astronauts face
Vinny,
deadly close encounters with alien forces?
Something is out there, and what it is.
Hey, wait a minute. Wasn't that guy in Roadhouse?
At that point, it started to appear.
They had large, dark eyes, claw-like hands.
Well, it might have tasted bad, but it's hitting pretty good for like what would only be like 16 milligrams.
I do believe in life after death. I mean, I've been there.
We have not scratched the surface of what the mind can do.
It's a connection with the unknown.
Vinny, have you ever witnessed an alien encounter, or have you ever been abducted by aliens?
Hello, I'm Tim White. Tonight on Sightings, people who
Meet
claim
Vinny
to have had
Slugga.
personal contact with aliens. They tell bizarre stories of abduction, and they suggest their captors have sinister motives. Most UFO encounters are easily debunked by experts, but there are still many sightings that cannot be explained, even by the most skeptical researchers. UFOs, they've been sighted in every corner of the Earth. Witnesses have captured strange lights and disc-shaped objects on film and video. But even before the age of technology, people worldwide were reporting UFOs.
The
You
UFO
never have? Do you
subject
think
goes
it's all
back
bullshit?
at least 6,000 to 8,000
You think
years
Don Eckner's
in
full
human
of shit?
history. People have many times pointed to the Christian Bible and the old first 5 books of the Jewish Torah as being examples throughout history of UFO contacts. But what we're seeing today is considered by many to be examples
Vinny
of
is
superior
such a professional. I bet if he was
somewhere
being
else,
abducted, that he would be
probably
like,
another
Alexa,
planet.
record! And you make
Some
sure we get a good
places have
video out of
become
it.
legendary as UFO hotspots. Gulf Breeze, Florida. Roswell,
Look
New
like a
Mexico.
coat hanger.
Sightings in these
I'm
out-of-the-way
trying to be
locations
positive,
number
sorry.
in the thousands.
Trying to keep an
The
open
next
mind.
hotspot? According to world-renowned UFO researcher Peter Gutella, this town, Anza, California, has all the earmarks of an extraterrestrial mecca.
And we have animal mutilations, we have abductions, we have close encounters of all degrees. We've had the appearance of mysterious animals.
Remember when Ben and Grace did the live
and
stream
we've
from
even
the
had
law
some,
library? Oh
of
my
the so-called
God,
Men
that
in Black
was such a good
experiences there.
stream.
At a local coffee shop, people were willing to share bizarre stories of their UFO encounters.
Kind of. I mean, that's the feeling I get. Like,
They revealed that they believe that the men in black are actually extraterrestrials
way.
sighted in deserted areas near the town. Each story is stranger than the last.
And I happened to look through the trees, and I saw this vehicle standing about, just about 60 feet off of the ground. It's like a flying saucer.
Oh my gosh, look at that
It had
artwork.
a dome
I
on the
love it.
top and a platform around, and a couple of persons walked around walking on air. I was delighted to be able to see such a thing.
I was delighted.
And then all of a sudden,
A gynecological exam begun.
ANZA is a UFO researcher's dream, a living laboratory filled with
I know,
eyewitnesses.
Robot Glock filming him at the restaurant. Hey, Robert De Niro.
Across. This thing was so bright,
rest
there
in
was
peace,
absolutely no
Ryan Dunn.
shadows whatsoever on the ground.
It was like a gold trail. It left a gold trail.
Vehicle.
Gotilla believes an around-the-clock surveillance here
Yeah, the
could
Men in
net
Black are
scientific
definitely
proof of UFO activity reported today and possibly in the ancient past, when Indians here drew astronaut-like figures.
Back in these days, the FBI would send like the super creepy Men in Black guys. Nowadays, they'll sue you if you accuse them of nightclub hopping.
Because of so much activity, the time was right. A team of UFO experts and skeptics move into the area.
Nice.
This will be one of the
Where's
largest
Laughing
UFO
Cedar for that
stakeouts
one?
ever. They set up a command post on Thomas
that
Mountain.
camera angle.
No one that I
Jim?
know of has gone out there to do what we did. We had the radar.
This radar can detect objects within a 24-mile radius.
This was pretty elaborate. The equipment was very expensive and very good and very accurate.
The Starlight camera
Very
is so
accurate, very
sensitive
good,
it can photograph
very
objects
accurate.
in total darkness. Once online, it sees anything that gives off even the slightest light. It easily picks up stars that are not visible with a regular video camera.
This camera is unique because it has an intensifier, which is more than 1,000 times more sensitive than the video camera you have in your home.
Surveying the area, the researchers are looking for a UFO the locals have nicknamed Goldie, a golden glowing craft seen over and over in the night sky from this mountaintop.
Starlight, we're looking at Mount Cahuilla. This is where Goldie, or the UFO, which has been seen about 50 times in the past 3 or 4 years, usually appears. It appears in this area. It has been seen actually all across Mount Cahuilla. This is Mount Cahuilla here.
The team gathers data and keeps meticulous notes. They continually monitor the sky. Then, unexpectedly, their visit.
Well, you guys aren't going to believe this, but I heard an animal noise in the other room. So I went in there to see what it was, and Rico was asleep, and Poppy was up in the cat tree. So I just figured it was Cicero. So I came back. I didn't see him, so I came back in here, and then he's underneath of the blanket. So now there could be a dog man. I mocked the dog man on Boyd Watch, and now we have one.
Visited by witnesses. Debbie Steinberg didn't want to talk about her experience in town.
Well, isn't the counter to that, F. Wood, is that the reason that they pick these people is because they know that no one will believe them?
He hiked to the stakeout area for a private meeting with researchers.
This was about 10:30 at night that it started. And I closed my eyes, and when I opened them again, I found myself in a room.
Vinny, you can't ask people for their real name, man. That's an overreach.
And I was laying on a table, and I had 6 beings, and I couldn't tell you what they were doing because I really don't know. But I remember the one that was on the left of my head took something from my head.
Researchers at the stakeout say that Debbie's story fits the classic pattern of what is known as a UFO abduction experience.
I believe that the abduction phenomenon is real, that it is extraterrestrial, that people are basically describing events that are happening to them with an objective reality.
Dr. Jacobs has investigated UFO abductions in his bestseller, Secret Life.
Usually, the abduction phenomenon begins in childhood and goes all the way through old age. And so they've had a series of experiences throughout their life.
This is a rendition of the craft I saw when I was 4 and my brother was 3, and where I was zapped with light. This is a drawing of what I call the silhouettes. I'm very afraid of this rod this one carries.
The eye.
Here's those witches I met at the Jim and Rock show.
And very black.
There was some eye contact, but it was like you and I are making eye contact right now.
Wow.
It's not that we're looking at each other's eyes, but we're more like reading each other's minds. That's more like what it was.
I'm a
Oh my
hypnotherapist.
gosh, what a cool
I am now
picture.
specializing in UFO abduction cases.
Yvonne Smith heads an abduction support group where people
forgot
can
what I was
share
gonna
their
say. That living room was
experiences
so
and
cool.
discuss their feelings.
Look at this.
I was 6 years old, and I
Nice
lived
fabric
in
choices.
Georgia,
Cynthia
near Macon,
Voodoo
Georgia.
Vase.
And I just remember it was in the middle of the night, and I woke up, and I was staring at the side of the head of the being, and I started to panic, and a couple of the beings in the craft subdued me somehow, and they had a very large instrument that came over my head, and they showed me a little BB looking thing, and they told me they were going to put it up my nose. But then this instrument came over my head and punctured the soft palate of my mouth, and it hurt very bad. And the next thing I knew, I was being placed back in my bedroom.
I'm finding in my cases many chilling similarities. The person is taken against their will, taken into a
now,
craft
she has a realistic
of some
bookshelf
kind,
behind her.
put on a table. The women begin to experience the gynecological examinations done by the aliens on them. They feel very violated.
Becky Boop.
With the men, anal probes are inserted.
Wow.
And sperm is taken. It's all done against their will.
Prostate milking,
and they're really helpless to do anything about it.
Coming up, the abducted relive more terrifying experiences
What do you think? Savvy
through
guy?
hypnotic
Would he be down
therapy.
for that?
During some
All he cares
abductions,
about
I'm
is
aware of
blasting
them,
off.
of their taking sperm samples.
And later, our UFO investigation in Anza, California continues.
Oh my God.
Regression therapy is an extremely controversial method in which abductees relive their UFO encounters under hypnosis. Some scientists suggest that what they're actually reliving might be repressed emotional trauma or subconscious fears from childhood. But for the abductee, the alien encounter is very real.
In abduction cases,
more of this lady.
many times the person will remember consciously that something strange or bizarre happened to them, something out of the ordinary. They desire to go into hypnosis to retrieve the hidden memories.
During some abductions, I'm aware of them, of their taking
He looks like
sperm
one of the
samples.
Geico cavemen, and this guy's like his handler.
In many different ways. They've done it in many different ways. With tubes,
Hey,
with
what's up, John? Hey, Armand.
like catheters.
Alien
There's
box.
one way I have not been able to deal with emotionally or under regression, and that's one where there's a being on top of me. And I can't deal with that yet.
Under hypnosis, Jesse Long is reliving trauma that he believes is caused by his abduction experience.
Extraterrestrial raping.
As incredible as it
He looks like Mike
sounds,
Graham.
these people are actually reliving these terrifying experiences.
Long claims to have not only emotional scars, but real physical scars as well.
Oh my God.
Even more disturbing are stories from
Look at
women
that
who
picture
believe
of
they
him.
were abducted for breeding purposes.
As incredible as this may sound, we have come across in the research
Sounds like it.
cases having to do with missing fetuses.
I
Oh my
remember they
God,
numbed
this
me
is
from the
really
waist
getting
down,
wild.
and they took something that looked like
Oh, I'm so glad we didn't miss out on this.
an umbilical cord attached to placenta, and they levitated it into some kind of chamber.
Later abduction scenarios, she is actually shown a baby. Now, this baby is not like a human baby that, as we know it, it's a cross between.
If I didn't have my sunglasses on right now, you would be able to see that my eyes look like Beth Adone's in one of her taste test thumbnails, where it looks like she's like being electrocuted.
An alien and a human.
Oh my God.
It's the central question of UFO research today. Why are they manufacturing these offspring, these babies? If we knew the answer to that, I think we would have a large part of the UFO mystery finally in hand.
Not every reported encounter with an alien is frightening and traumatic. Some people who've claimed contact with extraterrestrials
quite
tell us that for
pleasurable.
them,
The encounter was
Let's
a peaceful
talk to our
communication.
Next guest, Ben Thorpe.
That was certainly the case for Dorothy
who says
Izett
he
of
found them to
Vancouver,
be
British
quite
Columbia.
nice and that they bought him
I
a
went over to
McDonald's
the window,
breakfast.
looked out, and there was this
Dorothy
enormous
Izett.
thing up in the sky. It was in the shape of a diamond. And as I watched it, like there was a whole group of little, like, silver dollars that came out of the large ship.
Dorothy and her family reported that UFOs appeared every night.
I've been with her. I've seen these things. We all went down and we saw the phenomena.
Wayne Carew.
Flying in formation, streaking across the sky, this sort of thing. She tells me what they are, but I'll never be convinced until they drag me screaming and kicking into one of their ships. And I'm afraid that's my nature and that's where it'll stay.
Wu-Tang?
I found that through the test that this person is telling the truth, whatever she's doing, and that she's honest, and she's a very
I could totally picture this guy in an 80s movie.
This is what witnesses
you know what
have
I mean?
seen. These are not street lights,
Everybody
airplanes,
in the
or
80s
other
just seems
conventional
so
lights. This is actual footage of unidentified
Distinct.
flying objects.
Not to be
This is
confused
a
with
single frame
Distinction.
of Dorothy's film, equivalent to 1/18 of a
Shout
second.
out Distinction.
The
I saw he
streaks
was
do not
taking
appear on the
shots
frame
at
before
multiple
or
chats
after this one,
recently.
suggesting that the light is moving great distances in an 1/18 of a second.
We looked up into the sky, Dorothy
Hello,
too,
I'm Elaine
and
Alexander.
she went to the window, and she looked up,
Take a look at
and
my
she said,
whale
"Oh,
statue
come
behind
on,
me.
do something for my friends. They've been here for so long." And right away, 3 shafts of light,
3
as
shafts,
bright as
wow.
anything, just shot right up into the air where we were watching.
My communications with the light beings are that they're very
The
worried
light
about
beings.
us humans because we usually do things without thinking.
Come on.
The weapons we build, the way we raping the earth
Raping the
without
earth.
thinking of the consequences.
Although it does not appear that this film has been altered, skeptics believe these images are the result of light phenomena emanating from Earth, not UFOs. But Dorothy believes these lights are alien spacecraft and that she can communicate with the creatures inside.
Oh boy.
Coming up, what caused an unmanned Soviet probe to be knocked out of Martian orbit?
This is something that most likely destroyed the Phobos 2 mission to Mars. And it can do it again.
And our hunt for UFOs in the Southern California desert continues.
Oh, man.
The greatest challenge for a serious UFO researcher is finding hard
absolutely.
evidence.
I mean, it has to be on the table, right?
Film and videotape are easily faked, and skeptics distrust first-person accounts. The team we followed into the California desert made every effort to maintain a scientifically valid investigation. All kinds of state-of-the-art technology continue to arrive at the surveillance.
But, I mean, they're saying on here anyway that they have this device that just goes up the ass and then you just blast off. So I don't know if you really have time for, I don't really think it's like, it's too efficient to be gooning. Gooning
This
is
radar
like
works like any other radar. It's a precision piece
Zest
of
for
equipment
life.
which utilizes radio waves, which are bounced off a given target to determine its relative size, speed, and location. And that's how it communicates.
Theoretically, radar
that
signals
was so
could also
cool
be
when they
picked
cut
up by
to
an
the
alien
dot
craft.
matrix printer,
Another signaling
printed version
device
of it.
is this laser. This high-powered laser acts as a beacon, but researchers also fear it could be interpreted by approaching craft as a hostile act.
On this laser here, you would probably be able to see it reflect
Cosmic
off a
ass
surface
jammer, yeah.
approximately 2 to 3 miles away. Although the laser beam does continue on to infinity. So if I was to shine the laser straight up,
There
it
will
would
always
continue
be
on
a
beyond the
market
Earth's
for
atmosphere and
artisanal
continue on
gooning.
forever.
Most UFO research is
Not
privately
everybody's looking to
funded,
just
but the
get
U.S.
in and get it
government is
over
now
with.
launching its own search for extraterrestrial intelligence with a NASA program known as SETI.
SETI stands for Search for Extraterrestrial
yeah,
Intelligence, and it's
Shostak.
an effort by NASA and a fair number of astronomers to look for life in the galaxy. We're going to turn the world's largest telescopes toward the heavens with the idea of looking for some signs that we're not alone in the universe. The idea is to listen for radio signals
guys see
that
the
might be
footage they
deliberately or
captured
perhaps
of
even
the
accidentally
star explosion?
transmitted by
That
other
was really cool.
civilizations.
Any signals from space will be analyzed by a sophisticated computer system to determine if an alien life form is trying to communicate with us.
It's been said that in the first 30 seconds of this new NASA experiment, we'll collect more data than all the experiments of this type that have collected in the last 30 years. So that's a big step forward.
While the U.S. looks for proof of alien spacecraft, the Russians believe they already have proof.
In 1988, the Soviet Union launched 2 unmanned probes to explore Mars and the space around the planet. Phobos 2 achieved Mars orbit in January of 1989. However, something then occurred which there is apparently no prosaic explanation for. According to the Russians, they encountered with their unmanned craft an anomalous object, or a UFO, which was computed out to 25 kilometers. What we have is an infrared photograph taken from the Phobos 2 probe. This is the Martian moon Phobos. This is the UFO that apparently the Phobos 2 craft encountered. What happened was the craft observed the UFO. It took some photographs of it. Then, according to Soviet sources, this UFO turned toward the Phobos craft. The Russians then lost contact with it, and the craft has been gone ever since.
I think it took out Phobos 2 mission because Phobos 2 saw something it was not supposed to have seen. If I were in a spacecraft now to Mars, especially to Phobos, I would feel terrified because in my opinion, based on the knowledge that I have, something is out there.
I mean, you should be terrified. The equipment that you would go up in 1990, whatever, certainly isn't going to get there.
And what it is, I don't know. But this is something that most likely destroyed the Phobos 2 mission to Mars. And it can do it again.
Coming up, the startling results of our UFO investigation.
And I'm totally freaked out. I mean, I've got shivers going all the way up my spine.
Oh, shit.
From the outset of their investigation in Anza, California, the research team realized that the chances of capturing a UFO on film were extremely remote. But even with a skeptical eye to the skies, the team made a startling discovery.
Oh boy, here we go.
Maintaining the surveillance equipment and recording data has been a full-time job for researchers. 2 days and nights of hard work finally pay off. After day-long preparations, a strange light appears in the sky. The camera was not in position, but skeptical observers were.
And I'm totally freaked out. I mean, I've got shivers going all the way up my spine. I don't know how to explain this. You know, I'm a pure skeptic, definitely. And to see what I just saw, there's, you know,
they were just getting dessert.
I can't be skeptical.
We saw a yellowish orange light appear over the mountain. It traveled a little bit to our right and split off into 2 lights.
And as we watched them, they began to fade in intensity, and after about 30 to 40 seconds, they disappeared from view.
The sighting lasted only 15 seconds, but soon another UFO appeared, and this time the cameras were ready. The team captured this amazing UFO video.
You guys watching this inside?
It's going up, going straight up. Go, go, go.
249, 249.
We are presently watching this light, anomalous light, it's now rising above Mount Cahuilla. It appears to be more oblong or saucer-shaped than a conventional aircraft would be.
This starlight videotape may be all we ever know about the UFO nicknamed Goldie. Neither U.S. military sources nor the FAA have a definitive explanation.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
Researchers in Anza now have extensive logs and video, but none of it can yet explain who or what is out there. With so many sightings and contacts reported, even the U.S. government is now taking notice. NASA will spend $100 million over the next 10 years to scientifically search for intelligent life in the universe. One wonders if this mission will show that spaceships and extraterrestrials are more than science fiction. For Sightings, I'm Tim White. Good night.
On the next Sightings, some claim real-life vampires still exist today. We uncover startling new evidence of the living dead. Plus, a Scottish house of horror that's terrorized locals for hundreds of years. On the next Sightings.
You think it was with
Tomorrow,
space junk.
after a full hour of cops, see one of the most amazing rescues ever captured on videotape. A fireman rushes out of a burning building with an unconscious child
But
and
they have a
miraculously
YouTube channel,
brings
so I'm
him
sure they're
back
in
to
the
life.
content ID.
Witness this real-life drama on an all-new Code 3, followed
Looked like
by
it could
The
be an
Edge
aircraft.
tomorrow. Now, Likely Suspects is next.
Hey, hold on a minute. Don Ecker is a technical advisor, but he was advertised as an expert in one of the other episodes.
Underwater scanner picked up a startling...
Okay.
Tonight on Sightings, it's the search for the world's most elusive creatures.
And all of a sudden, the top of it swiveled, like, you know, a head.
Are these monsters myth and legend, or horrifying real-life creations?
I've never seen anything like it. I was very, very scared.
And could these terrifying mutations threaten us all?
So there's a good indication that there may be some strange animal that we haven't discovered yet.
At that point, it started to appear.
They had large, dark eyes, claw-like hands. I began sensing,
Large,
knowing,
dark
and feeling.
eyes, claw-like hands.
I do believe in life after death. I mean, I've been there. We have not scratched the surface of what the mind can do.
It's a connection with the unknown.
Welcome to Sightings. I'm Tim White. Tonight, monsters. They inhabit the nightmares of childhood and the folklore of every culture. And now there are scientists who believe that monsters aren't just myth. They're real. There are bizarre creatures among us that can't be explained. Some of them
What's
have
up,
been captured
Freshman Ball
alive.
Burner account?
And many of them live in our own backyard. Since earliest recorded history...
See, like, that looks like a face to me. It looks like this is eyes and then a mouth.
There have been monsters to strike a chord of fear in all of us. In the Bible, monsters represented pure evil. They took many different forms, but all had the same goal, to do the
Cody
bidding
Turbo.
of an unrelenting Satan. By the 1800s, the sensibilities of
Satan.
Victorian society gave monsters a human face, but their evil deeds were decidedly inhuman. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein became fictional folklore, but the strangest account wasn't to be found in the pages of a Gothic...
Yeah, I think he's a consultant on their UFO episodes. I think he's appeared on at least one episode later on in the series.
...novel, but with our 26th president, Theodore Roosevelt.
In the late 1800s, the woods of this country, the wilderness areas, were wild and dangerous. President Roosevelt found out just how dangerous these wilderness areas could be. Teddy Roosevelt loved to hunt. He loved to chase creatures through the wilderness, track, shoot. One night he found out this wasn't as much fun as he thought. When his hunting party frightened a Sasquatch into the camp of two trappers. One of the trappers was killed, neck broken, body mutilated, half-eaten by what seems to be, for all intents and purposes, a Sasquatch. 18.5-inch footprints were found the next morning. And Roosevelt was discredited. He became obsessed with finding this creature.
This is a theory developed by world-renowned Bigfoot investigator Terry Albright, based on Roosevelt's own writings about his hunting experiences all over the world. Although Teddy Roosevelt never actually came face-to-face with a Bigfoot, Albright claims he was obsessed with stories of reported sightings.
What?
And carried the fascination
So
to
he didn't
his
even
grave.
see it?
Now, if Sasquatch is out there and potentially dangerous if aggravated, how many other creatures or things
Why is he saying
that go
Sasquatch?
bump in the night are out there that we don't know about?
This is Hollywood's version of monsters. Creatures designed to scare
Sam
us,
Squanch.
even horrify us with their bloodthirsty
Oh,
qualities.
look at that shit, man. I
But
love
Hollywood
that.
monsters are just as likely to make us laugh at our
We
own
could watch
fears
those kind of
when
movies
they're
on here. A
obviously
lot of them
men
are in the public
silly
domain.
rubber suits.
Hollywood pokes a lot of fun at monsters. But the fact of the matter is,
You think he
we have
clapped the
unexplained
presidential
deaths.
cheeks?
The Pentagon must know
Therefore, why aren't we being told the truth about this creature?
Despite resistance,
I love these cuts
Terry
they've been
Albright
doing.
continues to search for proof of Bigfoot and other alleged monsters.
Wow, that guy
One
has a
unlikely
file on him.
hotspot is Bishopville, South Carolina. Residents here have encountered a bizarre humanoid creature that's rumored to haunt the nearby swamps. On July 5th, 1988, the Sheriff's Department responded to a call from a man who said he had been attacked by a scaly, 7-foot-tall monster locals have dubbed Lizard Man.
Lizard
20-year-old
Man.
Chris Davis was changing a tire on his car when he heard strange sounds.
And after I finished changing the tire, I was putting the stuff in the trunk. And I heard a noise. I looked back. I see something big running towards me. So I shut the trunk and ran to the car. I heard a loud crash on the hood.
Something or someone had clawed the hood of Chris's car and ripped off the molding. Footprints that didn't match those of any known animal were found near the attack site by Sheriff Liston Truesdale.
This track was found in the woods not long after the Lizard Man story.
And I mean, really, Daninsky, they're real. To me, they're nothing. They're not earth-shattering or whatever. But I think a lot of them are entertaining just because of how ridiculous they are, especially if you can get like a really terrible dub.
Broke out.
No one knows what creature could have
Iguana
made this
Man?
claw-like print, 14.5 inches long and 7 inches wide. There are alligators in the area, but no one believes the prints or the attack was the work of alligators or any other animal known in the pages of traditional biology. And yet each year, there are bizarre discoveries that drastically
Abnormal
change our
biology.
perceptions
Let's turn
about
to
life on Earth.
the OPC section.
It scared me because of the traits it had.
What's up, Randy?
Everyone believes that there is
Speaking of
something.
which, I was trying to do my RoboCop. I've been putting off doing the RoboCop review, so I was trying to do it. And the name of the company in the movie is OCP, and like my brain kept wanting to say OPC.
Here.
But I made it through it finally. What's up, Laughing Cedar?
Sound far out? Well, pandas were once mysterious monsters in China until Western zoologists tracked and cataloged them. Marine biologists estimate that there are over 1 million species of sea life yet to be discovered. In 1989, Woods Hole Oceanographic captured these incredible bioluminescent creatures, and no one knows what they are. Could these be real living monsters that somehow survived from prehistoric times?
Yes,
Experts
they
believe the
can be.
ozone layer is shrinking, creating climate changes. DNA may be mutating, and with unprecedented heat and
Don't
drought,
blow
who
your
knows
cool
what
this
bizarre
summer.
new life forms may be created by these
I love
atmospheric
the lava.
changes.
Looks so cool.
Coming up next.
Shit, there we go.
Its appearance was just a large humanoid creature walking like a human being.
Our sightings investigators search for the legendary Bigfoot.
There is no possibility that could be a man in a fursuit.
Oh yeah, I
A
remember. We've
monster
seen this guy.
8
He
feet
returns
tall, half
multiple
man,
times.
half beast. Perhaps the elusive missing
He's a
link
Mike
between
Chuddy
humans
of
and
these
apes.
early episodes.
Since the first recorded sighting in 200 BC, creatures matching this description have been reported worldwide. But witnesses have caught only fleeting glimpses of the monster we now call Bigfoot. Is he or she real?
What a way with words
From
for
their
Tim
office in San Dimas, California.
Hold on, let me go into my
Terry
werewolf
Albright
file.
and his partner Peter Gattila are obsessed with tracking down the legendary
Oh, the
Bigfoot.
megalodon is cool.
For over a year, the team has been concentrating on a rash of reliable sightings in Sonora,
Reliable.
California. Signs of the creature's impact on local business are everywhere. In fact, the residents have adopted Bigfoot as an unofficial mascot.
Travels up and down the west coast.
Ah,
And
Ray's son.
It's in Alaska in the summertime and then comes back down here for winter.
Biggest thing is size
Jim Corporal
and its
Kirchner.
movement. More human-like than anything, than any animal. It had to be Bigfoot. There was no other answer.
Here, Albright and Gattila ask eyewitness Faye Miller to
Matilda.
return to the site of her first Bigfoot encounter.
Fiddler's Green.
We got out of
Nice.
the car, and dogs started raising hell and just barking and sniffing and carrying on. So I just looked around. I thought, well, maybe there's something here. Looked up here and saw 3 Bigfoots standing there,
During an examination of the forest, the researchers found evidence they believe confirms Bigfoot was there. And recently,
These branches way up here and up here. Now, some of these branches have been rubbed raw of bark. Places where things have been broken off, as you can see, through here. Not only that, below it.
Have any of you guys tried those new Selena Gomez flavored Oreo cookies?
There is a path. Here is a branch which has been knocked off and
talked
rocked
about
over
that,
many
did we?
times. Broken branches here, pushed down branches there. Something has obviously come through here.
Yeah, I mean, that would probably not be something you would see in a forested area.
Regularly.
the evidence is similar to that found throughout the Pacific Northwest and British Columbia, and eyewitness descriptions are strikingly similar.
We could see them go behind that tree in through that opening, and then they were gone.
Missing primates.
What I saw
Oh,
was
man.
about a 6.5
Will
7
Whitehouse,
foot creature.
come on.
Bigfoot. That's the scariest I've probably been
Don
in my life, to
Hardon,
be that
okay.
close to something and not see
Whatever,
it
man.
and feel it. And the way it was breathing, I figured that thing was big.
Its appearance was just a large humanoid creature walking like a human being.
Beautiful shirt, though.
In
Very
the Himalayas, it's called Yeti. These tracks were found at the base of Mount Everest. The Chinese call it Fei-Fei, a 10-foot-tall creature whom they say has a taste for human
Willie
flesh.
Will Whitehouse.
Native Americans call it Oma. In Canada, it's Sasquatch.
Oh, shit,
And in the
for
western
real?
United States, we call it...
Oh my God, Randy, I gotta, hold on, let me screenshot that. Dude, yes, that's perfect. Tangerine lemonade. I'll have to give it a try.
Bigfoot.
I need new
October
lemonades to
20th,
try.
1967. Bigfoot research
You're in the
pioneers
Missing
Roger
Primates
Patterson
book. I thought
and
it was
Bob
a
Gimlin
story about a guy
discover
who
the trail of what
had
they
been
believe
separated
is
from
an
other
enormous
primates.
Bigfoot. They gather what evidence they can, and deep in this pine forest, begin to feel an uneasy presence. They face a dilemma. How will they react
Man-like
if
giants.
a Bigfoot actually appears?
We came around a bend in the creek where there was a downfall tree. At that point, as we came around the bend in the creek there, this creature was
Look at that
standing
shirt. It's
beside
like-
the creek.
Startled by the looming presence of the creature, the horses reared. Roger
I
Patterson
don't
was
know how
thrown
to
to the
explain
ground, but steadied his camera long enough to capture this legendary creature on film.
They encountered it very close, I think 20, 25 feet away. And Roger Patterson turned on his movie camera, ran after it as far as he could. And finally, he stopped and it walked away.
Further
Like,
perspective
okay.
on the footage comes from...
I never, even though I've seen it a million times, I never actually thought to look up, like, is there more to the footage than what we see in these little clips? Is it like minutes of footage that's cut down to just the good stuff?
Over Krantz, a physical anthropologist at Washington State University.
Here is a cast that was made at the...
You know what I want to do? I could do a taste test of is the pizza rolls. What were they? They're like Stranger Things, some kind of I don't know, some kind of evil. Because they're from hell, I guess they're supposed to be hot. I don't know.
In 1967 at the site where Roger
It's a
Patterson
really
got
wordy
movie of
title.
one.
It's like,
and this is
Stranger Things, pizza rolls, something, hell's something, or spicy pizza rolls. I don't know.
what I would consider to be probably an adult female. The creature has extremely wide shoulders, well over 3 feet wide. And
Oh,
I've done
Grace
some
from the-
measurements,
from
and
the
no
Uncle
human
Joe
being
era.
at 6.5 feet tall would have shoulders and chest width to equal that. So there's no way they could fit their arms in the costume.
Yeah,
I've
Hellfire
gone through a whole
Club,
film and
spicy
reconstructed
pepperoni
everything,
pizza
the
rolls.
exact body movements and everything you can. And I'm satisfied that there is no possibility that could be a man in a fursuit. There's just no way around it.
If the film is not a hoax, then this is the moving image of a giant unknown species.
Well, and the guy died, so I feel like if there was anything else he wanted to make known, he probably would have done it then. I would love to see the rest of the footage, though.
species, probably female,
That
as she
sucks.
passes alone by a river. Her slow retreat suggests no fear of man and no desire to make contact with us.
Really
Films,
committing to the
videotapes,
bit,
and
though.
plaster casts of giant footprints
Well, I guess not,
do
because he
little to
admitted it was made
satisfy
up.
skeptics who believe that
He should have
Bigfoot is
released
nothing
the rest
more
of the
than
footage.
hoax and folklore. Scientists demand more conclusive proof, and some believe that proof may be found in the fossilized jawbone of a
crap
species
purple
called
green.
Gigantopithecus. In the
Now,
late 1950s,
I did like they rebranded maybe Freshetta or something, but they made it like the Surfer Boy pizza or whatever. But whatever the Surfer Boy pepperoni was really good.
Ominous lower jawbone was discovered in China. Dr. Krantz believes this may be
Showed a
scientific
Bigfoot
proof
massacre.
that Bigfoot exists.
I've taken this jaw and tried to reconstruct what I think
Pizza
the
rolls are a
entire
great way to
skull
burn
would look
them out,
like.
true.
This is what I've ended up with. That this is what the
100
Gigantopithecus
OPC
skull would
Dons.
have looked like. So
Can you
I would
imagine
certainly
them
say the
all in
best guess-
unison, but it's all like well, not in unison, but like just a little bit apart so that it sounds like crickets, but he's like,
as to what Bigfoot is it's Gigantopithecus.
It's like those little
still with
aliens
us.
on Toy Story.
With mounting physical evidence from all over the world, Krantz believes it's only a matter
Bigfoot
of time
attacked Tim
before
Treadwell.
responsible researchers make the scientific discovery
Invite
of the
him on the
century,
stream.
the capture of a living, unharmed Bigfoot.
Not unless he's going to release the footage.
Coming up,
We knew right off the bat it had to be some kind
Only
of a monster in
Bethadone
the lake.
has collab
has science
privileges.
found proof that the Loch Ness Monster exists.
Well, there's a good indication that there may be some strange animal that we haven't discovered yet.
If we are to believe the thousands of sailors and fishermen who've seen them, enormous sea serpents have populated our oceans and lakes since earliest recorded history. The most popular spot for sightings is, of course, Loch Ness in the Scottish Highlands. For 1,400 years,
Bob
residents have
Gimlin and
searched
Ruby
for proof of a
Spacek.
monster
Oh my God.
they know is there. The celebrated Loch Ness, 24 miles long, its waters so deep, dark, and murky that legend has it this body of water is cursed. Locals will tell you the lake never gives up
Let me
its dead.
screenshot that.
Since
south to west.
565 AD,
I want to follow up
hundreds
on
have
that.
witnessed a creature no one can explain.
There came out of a loch was this huge shape, massive shape.
James Cameron, man, this is back in the old days.
Grey in colour, huge. And it then zonked back into the loch.
He
and
gave
then
up
the loch was
on
flat calm.
Loch Ness
what
and
I saw
focused
then
on
was
Titanic.
waves about 18 inches high going to each side of the loch. And then it just disappeared.
Believe it or not, we saw this great neck emerge from the water, at least about 5 feet, we estimate, above the water at an angle. Head and neck seemed to be one. Then it moved down with a sideways kind of motion, disappeared. And we hadn't drunk a drop of whiskey that morning.
These witnesses are seeing something strange and alive in the water. But what? Some believe that there are prehistoric creatures in Loch Ness that have survived extinction. What else
He
could
was doing a
explain this
punishment
bizarre
walk.
figure? Captured in the most famous of
I don't know
all
what's
Loch
going
Ness
on with
monster
Ruby.
photographs.
I'm
Taken by a
mystified by her
reputable
content
London
lately.
surgeon in 1933. This was the start of a worldwide search for proof of the monster.
The big question in all this, of course, is, are these animals real? Why don't we catch them? Why do we see them so rarely?
In order to answer these questions,
Fishing hole.
scientists
All
have
I
used
can think of is when VP was calling somebody a failed hole on her community page.
many different techniques to
Oh,
photograph
look at that.
or even
Oh, that'd be.
capture the
Oh,
Loch
no
Ness
way.
monster. In
Going down to
1975,
the bottom in a dog
the Academy
igloo?
of
I don't
Applied
think so.
Sciences made headlines around the world with these remarkable pictures. They clearly show a flipper and the body of a creature never photographed
Hey,
before.
Bob Brown.
Could this be what locals affectionately refer to as Nessie? With this new evidence, the search for a living monster intensified. Operation Deep Scan was mounted. Boats equipped with sophisticated
Scan.
radar and sonar worked together to scan every inch of the lake. Then, one underwater scanner picked up a startling anomaly.
Atlantis, what depth did you find target at over? It started at about 480 feet down and rose up to 320 feet before we lost the target, over.
What a
When we
what a
work with
complete
sonar,
waste
we get
of time,
strong
resources.
sonar contacts in Loch Ness. Obviously, we have to resolve that because the two may be linked.
So, what is in
Oh, my
Loch Ness? The answer may also explain what is in Lake Okanagan, 9,000
for
miles
sure
away
would.
in British Columbia, where residents describe an equally mysterious lake monster.
We had slowed down somewhat
Pat
and
Tanaka.
moved over for it because it was coming straight for us. As it got across from us, we could see that this object, it was about 30 feet in length, and it was stirring up a tremendous amount of water.
Could the creature that reportedly inhabits this lake be related to the Loch Ness Monster? The sightings follow a similar pattern, going back 100 years when Indians named this monster Ogopogo.
I think it varies because it's definitely been OPC Don in my chat before because he's talked to me. Or it's someone impersonating him, I guess. But I do think it is other people at other times because I've seen them in the actual Lol Cow Rejects chat talking about being on a channel like of their own and shit.
All of a sudden, Ogopogo came to the top of the water.
Under Siege
And
3.
my husband looked at me and he said, "Oh my God, it's Ogopogo."
We figured it's around 40 feet long.
I'm not impressed, I don't think, about Loch Ness because even if they found it, like, I don't really know what I wouldn't be surprised, I guess, if stuff like that. I would be surprised if it existed there, maybe, but I mean, there's so many crazy, gigantic, living entities in the water, out in the oceans.
And there's no fish in this lake 40 feet long, so it wasn't a fish.
We knew right off the bat it had to be some kind of a monster in the lake.
Unlike
We knew
Nessie,
immediately.
an Ogopogo sighting has rarely been captured on film. But in 1987, an American film crew shooting a news documentary on Ogopogo made news themselves when they shot this rare videotape, an unidentified creature rising to the surface of the lake.
Nothing around it, nothing in front of it, nothing behind it.
What did the news crew film? Was it an extraordinarily large fish or a prehistoric cousin of the Loch Ness Monster? Are witnesses seeing the same type of creature 9,000 miles apart?
Yeah, KPC, that's
and
how.
could there be more yet to be discovered in other bodies of water around the world?
There's a good indication that there may be some strange animal that we haven't discovered yet. Chance will eventually perhaps favor us with discovering everything that lives in the ocean.
Betty Staines has to sit on a towel. Wow.
If lake monsters actually exist, where did they come from? One intriguing theory suggests that during the last ice age, certain prehistoric animals were trapped in what would later become freshwater lakes. The possibility that these monsters are actually living dinosaurs propels scientists to continue serious research.
Coming up, the world's most bizarre and frightening creations may be forced into our own backyards.
It wasn't a natural thing. It was some kind of...
Well, and Nikki
New
New has
unnatural
on
creature.
multiple occasions bragged about the fact that she can smash all night. Can and has smashed all night.
A bolt of lightning, 100 million volts of electricity. Experiments have shown that this may have been the jolt that created life out of seawater. If that's true, imagine the beasts that could be created in the toxic waste of the 20th century.
I've never seen anything like it. I was very, very scared.
Lorianne
Perhaps
and
the most
Rosie.
amazing discovery of all was this creature, captured by Japanese fishermen in 1985. This bizarre carcass
This is
was
a
caught
neat
off the coast
picture.
of New Zealand. But the fishermen
Especially
did not realize
pre-AI,
the importance of what
like-
they'd found. These rare photos were taken before the body
I don't think I
was
believe
thrown
anything
back.
anymore. It's
Satellite
new, you know what I
photographs
mean?
show that
But
thousands
like
of square
at the
miles
time,
of
though,
Pacific
wow.
Ocean may be heating up. Near Mozambique, a fish thought to be extinct for 2 million years is
Wow.
captured alive. Could all these events be a hint of other monsters yet to be discovered?
When I first saw it, the neck was way out of the water. So I went to turn my boat to avoid this. And then all of a sudden, the top of it swiveled. Like,
Multiple orgasms.
ahead, and that's when the
Oh,
excitement
Grace.
started.
Gary Lemetta was on a
Gooning's
pleasure
just not the
cruise
same
when
as
he
being with a
encountered
proper
sea
man.
monster. This exclusive footage captures an 8-foot neck rising from the surface.
Newgasms. Oh my god.
From what Gary Lemetta has described,
Show us your
looked to
Nicky
him
New
like
face.
a very large turtle without a shell. The big question is, what can this animal be? After all, we have a catalog
Nicky's such an interesting
a great
character in the
number of animals
Thorpenverse,
that we
for
have caught
real.
in the ocean. Are there any others?
We may soon find out.
A great member of
Dwindling
the supporting
animal
cast.
habitats and destruction of the world's wild places mean animals perhaps monsters, will soon have nowhere to go but into our own backyards.
It scared me because of the traits it had. You know, it wasn't a natural thing. It was some kind of, I think it was an unnatural creature.
Wow, it wasn't natural, it was unnatural. Thank you for clarifying. Specimen unknown. What a great episode this was. I'm so glad we didn't
Humanoid
miss out on
monsters
these.
and bizarre creatures of the deep have terrified people for thousands of years. But perhaps we shouldn't fear these so-called
Rotten
monsters.
whale corpse.
Remember, every day on this planet, more than 20 species of plant and animal
Yeah, I
become
know that.
extinct, vanish from the face of the earth.
Drama Llama is a
Perhaps serious
regular
study of those
commenter on
creatures
when
we
I post
call monsters
Thorpe-related stuff.
Can reverse the process. For Sightings, I'm Tim White. Good night.
Okay, so we got to move. If you, by the way, if you want to watch these on your own, go back, or if you missed any, I got this more. It's a fuller list. It's not complete, but I think between the two lists they're complete. But this one was Stan Switak's Retro TV, Gaming, and Cinema that has all of these. So we need to go to Season 2, Episode 13. Let's see. Here we go. Astrological predictions, close encounters, and a spy house investigation. So we need 13 and then 22. Okay.
Possible interpretation. Claimed to have had close encounters of the fifth kind.
This is a new chapter in interspecies communication.
Then, don't make any plans for the new year until you've watched our full astrological report.
Oh, absolutely.
With startling predictions for 1993.
It's the worst period that I've seen in a long time.
That might have been the first non-Grace content in the Thorpiverse that I covered, was her interview with Dalmatian Dog. The Fonz. Was it a quick stream? I have no idea what's happening. I have no idea, like, the passage of time. Like, I didn't look at what time it was. I would say it's like, let's see how close I can get. I would say it's like, we watched 3 episodes.
Welcome to
an hour,
Sightings.
9:15.
I'm Tim White. The start of every new
10:15.
year means resolutions that were determined
Okay,
to keep
9:45.
and probably don't. And of course, a chance for psychics and astrologers to make their predictions for the coming year.
That's not too
How
bad, I guess.
accurate are these prophecies? And should we believe
Ladies
these
love
predictions about the
astrology.
future? Well, perhaps this year we should pay special attention. Many professional psychics are predicting a 1993 filled with disaster.
We believe that at 7:05 in the evening on the 8th of May, 1993, there will be one of the largest earthquakes ever to hit
Oh,
California.
not the American plate.
That it will spread during an 11-minute period when the quake will actually continue. all
No,
the way up the
Daninsky, it's
coast
amazing.
On the Andreas Fault. And that it will start a major...
You haven't seen it? It's like fresh off of D-Dog being super bitter about his time with Ben and Grace. It's a really good interview.
disaster on the American continent.
A frightening prediction, and one made even more astounding when we consider the source. A 16th century physician, astrologer, and
Also good on Barry. I've seen the previews for that, but I've never watched it. Oh my god, guys. I was so pissed. I've been trying to watch Small Wonder, that old TV show. And I found out that Shout Factory only put out seasons 1 and 2 on DVD. So I was like, you know, shit, because I knew Shout Factory has the license for it. But obviously they're not going to put any more out. But I actually found a channel on YouTube. I'm an idiot. I never even thought to look on YouTube for it. But yeah, somebody has like all the complete run of Small Wonder.
Some scholars, Nostradamus' predictions about major
One of the
historical
OG
events
robotics
have proven to be
AI
amazingly accurate,
related shows.
even 400 years after his death.
Nostradamus was the most extraordinary man of his century. He was known in many circles, known as medical circles, court circles.
And one of the
Many
wackiest TV
ambassadors
dads
used to
of
write
all time.
terrified letters back to their various kings and queens saying, Monsieur Nostradamus has said so-and-so. We must be careful.
For centuries, people have tried to decode his cryptic writings. He has been credited with predicting the coming of Hitler, air travel, great natural disasters.
Yeah, the dad's like he's like a big time government, like they don't come right out and say that he's in, you know, weapons development, but he's got to he stole the robot and they have to keep it like a secret, and pretty much it's just like treated like a slave essentially through the whole series.
fires and plagues.
There have been many.
But the robot girl was funny. The dad is an absolute it just acts like a complete cokehead. The mom is this like oblivious, perfect 80s sitcom mom. The little brother is this just like nightmarish, perfect 80s like brat kid. Then you have like the completely annoying ginger next door neighbor.
The interpreters of Nostradamus, but Nostradamus wrote in very obscure.
I think it's a really solid show, but I have never seen the last couple seasons.
You can read anything in it you want to.
A new and intriguing interpretation of the quatrains of Nostradamus is being offered by author Peter Lorre.
What we did in our book was actually to discover a code, a numerical and a grammatical code, which actually is.
Oh, I love Alf too,
once
yeah.
You get the hang of it, it's quite simple, which decodes.
I love Alf. I love the movie about the guy who made Alf, where it's Ben Stiller, and it's like this incredibly dark
Nostradamus
movie.
often used astrology as what he believed was a scientific backup to his predictions. Astrology is based on the belief that the relative positions of stars and planets have a direct effect on all life on Earth. But can the future really be predicted with any accuracy? Many people do believe that psychics,
the robot kid,
and especially astrologers have a...
Well, they made that one movie, didn't they? They made the robot kid gone nuts movie, that crazy one that like danced and like killed people. What was it? Megan. Did they make a sequel to Megan? Was that the show with the creepy dad who travels around in an RV with his mindless robot daughter? Okay, Daninsky, look, I'm gonna open up and give you some Mark Fusion lore, okay? What you're saying, this is gonna be a King TL style rant. What you're saying right now, Daninsky, it's really hitting, man, because back in the 80s when I used to watch the VHS tapes, I used to watch this movie, man. It was called Cherry 2000, and it had a robot chick, and she was like the perfect woman, and you know, maybe that's a what you call it, an allegory to Grace Thorpe.
A special ability to see into the future. And there are those who turn to countless books and magazines that offer advice and predictions for the coming year.
Astrology is both an
Megan
art
too,
and a
amazing.
science. It's a science in the sense that we use the actual positions of the planets. In fact, my computers here have the same planet position tapes from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratories in Pasadena. The art end of it comes from being able to interpret these.
No, but for real, Cherry 2000 was like the ultimate trad wife. And that's why the guy like went crazy, because they discontinued the model and like none of the other ones could live up to this like perfect trad girl. So he went through like all this trouble, got in these big adventures and like risked his life and everything to get the coding so that he could get back his perfect trad girl.
Planetary positions and what they mean for a person in their life, in their future. What's
Get Out,
happening
nope.
for
I've
them.
seen Get Out. I haven't seen Nope.
Computers are the latest weapon in a high-tech arsenal astrologers are using. The positions of the stars and planets for any period of time can be entered and then quickly compared to important information about a single individual, a group, or even a specific geographical region.
One of the tips that led me to the realization that there was a strong potential for
Donate money to one of them while
earthquake
promising
in
that I'm never going to
California
donate to
at
the
end
other
of
ones
June
again.
1992.
But I'm
was
team
the
whoever
position
for
of
good
Jupiter,
this
the most
time.
massive planet that there is, was sitting at the midnight point below the state of California at the time that the...
Let's just say that Cherry is so trad that even when everything goes completely like wrong for her, she's always ready with a sandwich, and then instead of complaining about her situation, she like looks at the sandwich and says that it's pretty, and she's just happy.
The biggest earthquake in 40 years hit the Yucca Valley area.
In addition
Ultimate
to charting
Hollywood
the likelihood of
trad girl.
catastrophic events and providing individual charts for their clients, some astrologers are also helping some businesses find their way to economic prosperity.
I do a portfolio called a company profile, and I take the incorporation date of the business and run it, of course, on the computer. And all of those charts
But
give some
Daninsky,
insight into the
if
business.
what you're saying is true, then Grace is not the one that's doing the Dahmering after all. She's not the one who's trying to create a soulless shell to validate them, to validate her. That flips the entire core narrative of Thorpe TV.
As a result of working with Grace, I saw a tremendous turnaround.
It would almost be like, Daninsky, it would almost be like, instead of Grace being the Dahmer, that person being the Dahmer is the guy who looks up to, I can't even say it with a straight face, that looks up to Leonard Lake, who wanted just a mindless, husk.
In the income and the volume of activity in my business.
Arch Crawford is Wall Street's best
Yeah,
known
Cherry
astrologer.
2000 is
His
one of my
newsletter
favorite
was
movies.
calculated most accurate by Timer Digest for 1991 and 2.
I was looking for something, in Wall Street just to
Arch
give
Crawford.
a slight edge. And what I found was startling.
But the vibe of the movie, the message of the movie is that trad girls are great and everything, but they really can't compete with basically they're saying that like a trad girl can't compete with like a real life woman.
More than an edge. The new incoming administration would do well to consult astrologers. The heads of most governments in the past always did consult astrologers. Some of the major heads today still do. Ronald Reagan was known as the Teflon president because
a genius mad scientist disguising himself as an incompetent moron who can't make a sandwich.
Was that he was
You
doing
think
everything on a
Blubber
favorable
Lips Ben would do that,
astrological time.
Daninsky?
The man knew what he was doing.
What do they call that?
I can tell you that
hold on.
Bush has not been.
What is it called? Whenever you do that, whenever you're purposefully bad at something so you don't get asked to do it again. Learned helplessness or something like that.
Been using astrologers because he went to Japan and threw
These
up
are
on the Prime
earth-shaking
Minister
accusations,
on an
by the way.
date that was in bad aspect to the NATO United States chart. That was a worse time to go out. That was a good time to stay home and be sick, maybe.
And what do the heavens tell prominent astrologers and astroeconomists about the events of the upcoming year?
Astroeconomists?
Looking over
Weaponized, yes, there you go. Weaponized incompetence. That's what it's called. Those are some pretty big shots you're firing at Blubber Lips Ben.
It looks to me like one of those years they're going to make T-shirts about. It's going to be I Survived 1993. The major war potential now relates more to the holy war between the Islamic nations of the Middle East
and Ruby Space
the great powers in the
Channel.
West. It's going to be more a terrorist kind of situation, especially around approximately February 2 and also in August and early October of 1993. We're going to have another major seismic upheaval in the western U.S., probably California, probably around February the 8th, March the 6th, April the 6th. Those 3 dates are key dates, plus or minus 3 days.
Selective
I do have
amnesia.
a prediction of a high late in April
withholding
and a very
information.
devastating May-June period. It may be another crash. It's the worst period that I've seen in
I want to
long
watch
time.
that one,
I don't
Ember,
know specifically
the black
how
phone.
planets affect the Somalia in particular, but I think it's very
I need to get. I'm sure
strange
they have
that
it at the
United
library.
States goes in there on the day of the lunar eclipse, and I don't think that that's a good thing. On a full moon and a lunar eclipse is not a good time to start projects.
Nostradamus predicts an earthquake on the west shore, Los Angeles, California.
I think Ben might be using weaponized incompetence on Grace.
The seismic records will be heard not only in
She
New
needs
York,
to come
but
and live in
practically
me flat
worldwide.
with me.
He gives us.
We can be
May
like
21st.
sisters.
Is this our fate? Or are these predictions merely random guesses based on an unproved science? And should we take them seriously? Can computers, or the words of a 16th century doctor...
I always
foretell
liked her
our
show.
future?
I thought her show was really funny.
What's happening in the future? I think that's something we experienced as a child. If we could just predict the future and know what was going on, nobody can do it. And the promise of it, I think, is so compelling and so strong
that it takes an act of will and a lot of effort to overcome the natural inclination to want to believe that too.
For now, only time will tell if it
I'm
is
still
the
thinking about
astrologers or the
astroeconomists.
skeptics who will be right in the future. Joining us now with more predictions of what lies ahead in 1993 is Gene Avery, world-famous astrologer, lecturer, and author of numerous
Is that the
books
same
on
Avery
astrology.
from chat?
Gene, welcome to Sightings.
Hi, Tim. Thank you.
Many of the astrologers that we've spoken to, Gene, say 1993 is going to be a simply awful year. Do you agree?
Well, it's not going to be an easy one, let's put it that way.
Oh,
Why?
my God.
There's an aspect in the skies
I held
between
on to it
Uranus
too
and
long,
Neptune
Daninsky. I
that is
couldn't
so
pull the landing.
extraordinary. It has not been around for 165 years.
That Dr.
The
Quencher
planet
edible
Uranus
drink was...
always describes events that
It's
are
good,
almost
especially, like I said, I only
catastrophic.
took 2
I have to say
shots.
that word.
Gene, people love lists. What are your top 3 predictions for 1993?
Do I have to confine them to 3?
Sure.
I see the stock market starting to get into trouble February, March. I see May bringing earth changes, perhaps in Seattle area. I see catastrophic events with the stock market at that time, and some terrible rumblings in the Middle Eastern countries again.
Wow,
Other
way to go out on a
astrologers
limb.
have predicted a major earthquake in California. Another one in
Listen,
1993.
Tim
Maybe
White,
8,
there,
some of them say.
there could be an earthquake in California. There could be some unrest in the Middle East.
How about you?
Well, I see
The stock market may be unpredictable.
earth changes up around Seattle and Utah or in Portland. I don't see it in Lower California.
Earthquakes
Not-
north of California?
Earth changes.
What does that mean?
Floods, hurricanes, disastrous weather conditions, but not necessarily the earthquake in California.
What does President Clinton have ahead of him, according to the stars?
Well, he has a fabulous time ahead. He's going to be a wonderful president. I feel even
I think people
inspired.
are going to argue
He has
about
4
Star
years
Wars
ahead
on,
with very few
on
difficult
YouTube.
aspects. So I think he's going to be a
In
fabulous
maybe
leader.
March,
Gene Avery,
March
thank you very
through
much for being with us.
through May.
Thank you.
And we will be back with more sightings in just a moment.
Coming up next, these people claim to have had close encounters of the 5th kind with extraterrestrials.
This is a new chapter in
That Ben segment with Stinky Brew was great too.
Sightings is brought to you by Suave Hair Care, when you know beautiful hair doesn't have to cost a fortune.
Come on, perk up. Perk up. My hair is possessed. What's wrong? It goes every which way. I mean, how come your hair always goes the right
Yeah.
way?
If I go off the air, it's because there's unrest in the Middle
Suave?
East
Oh,
or an
great. So I'm
earthquake
running
in
around buying the
California.
most expensive brands of hairspray. Well, you just have to get with it. Suave's all you use? Really? That's it. Oh, those are the best ones, yeah.
Look at that hair. What in the world? Look like Mo.
Suave. When you know beautiful hair doesn't have to cost a fortune.
I hate to be a pesto.
Oh,
but did
remember
you
this
know
lady?
Some grated toppings are 1/3 fats and fillers. Kraft is 100% grated
Oh, look at that
Parmesan
old
for
school.
100% great taste. Great-o.
We dare you to feel more comfortable this month.
You're on.
Take new improved Playtex out of its applicator and compare it to the other leading tampons.
Playtex
Oh
is
no,
soft
deodorant
and a more
tampons? That
comfortable
can't be
applicator.
good.
I'll try it.
Playtex, dare to feel more comfortable.
Saturday, you'll see
Oh man,
exclusive
tampons
surveillance
to
footage
cops.
of a
What a
suspect who
lineup
was
of
too
commercials.
hard to handle on an all-new Cops in Fort Worth. Then,
Oh, hey, Amber.
witness extraordinary
Cops
rescues
in
by
Fort Worth.
ordinary people. When a plane's landing gear fails, the pilot's friend attempts a daring mid-air rescue. And they're the unsung heroes of the San Francisco earthquake. See how brave citizens risked their lives to save complete
Yeah, Daninsky.
strangers. On an
I think
all-new
that was
Code
like her
3
peak.
After Cops Saturday.
Until recently, sightings of UFOs have been divided into 3 categories. A close encounter of the first kind, or CE1 for short, describes sightings closer than 500 feet. A CE2 includes physical evidence left behind. And the third kind, or CE3, describes face-to-face encounters.
Oh my
A few
God.
years ago, ufologists added CE4 to describe reported alien abductions of humans. And now there's a new category, close encounters of the 5th kind, CE5.
That's what
in
I
which
was thinking.
humans
That
and
can't be
aliens
healthy.
actively communicate with each other through light and sound. The Center for the Study of Extraterrestrial Life, or CSETI, is pioneering the study of CE5s.
Oh, wow.
Dr. Stephen Greer is CSETI's director.
A close encounter of the fifth kind is a term that we have coined to describe humans deliberately attempting to vector a spacecraft into an area with the intention of interacting with it.
Most encounters in all the other
Shari
categories are
Adamia.
passive. In a CE5, we take the initiative to communicate in some fashion, whether it be with sound or light or
What a
thought,
rack.
to try and get a response. Rather
What is
than
she
just
collecting
being
back
passive
there?
observers, we want to interact.
And some
Are
of
those
these
Wizard of
sometimes
Oz
quite
collectible
serendipitous.
dolls?
For example, an individual might be out at night driving along a highway and see an extraterrestrial spacecraft or a UFO, and will take the initiative to get a flashlight and begin to signal to it. And many times it will come over and then signal back.
The purpose of our work is for peaceful communication, mutual respect. We absolutely assume non-hostility on the part of any visitors until it's proven to us beyond a shadow of a doubt.
In their field research, CSETI has developed a specific set of protocols for initiating contact with alien spacecraft. Their goal is a successful CE5.
The different methods of initiating a CE5
Popping
include
candy is
using
fine to use, though,
sound,
yes.
which are, at this point, we're using anomalous sounds that were recorded inside of crop circles in England. We use light. When we go out into the field, we go with 500,000 candle power halogen lights that are portable.
The lights are used for signaling to the UFO either in a series of flashes or by drawing shapes in the sky, usually a large triangle or large circle. It's meant to encourage the UFO to participate and to interact with the project.
We also use thought in the form of meditative thought or thought projection. We call it coherent thought sequencing.
So we are using these, what we call the contact trilogy, in a protocol fashion with the express intention of a boarding party, a CSETI trained boarding party, going on board and having a meeting with these visitors.
In the spring of 1992, Dr. Greer took a CSETI group to one UFO hotspot, Gulf Breeze, Florida. This computer simulation is based on CSETI's own footage, supposedly showing communication with a UFO.
We began signaling to them with these lights, and they would signal back so that we would flash to them 2 flashes and off, and they would flash back 2 times and off. They disappeared briefly, and during that time period, we were making an equilateral triangle in the sky with these high-powered lights. At that point, shortly after we did that, they reappeared in a perfect equilateral triangle.
Like the alien's going to be like, hey, that guy's shining a light down there. He's obviously trustworthy.
Kind between the CSETI group and these UFOs.
With their apparent success at Gulf Breeze, CSETI expanded their field research to include an investigation in Great Britain.
I mean, I would talk to them. I would see if they would watch a couple
researchers
clips
who were
of the
interested in
Thorns to give me their
investigating if alien
extraterrestrial
spacecraft
opinion.
could be responsible for England's famous crop circles.
We wanted to try and prove once and for all if a link really did exist between the UFO phenomenon and the crop circle phenomenon.
We picked the Wiltshire area because the majority of the crop circle formations in England are forming in that particular county.
The site there is very close to Stonehenge. It's a very prolific area for aerial phenomena and for the ground patterns.
During our protocol that evening of July 23rd, we focused on our thought process for this particular formation for 20 minutes. We all held in our minds the thought of a triangle with a circle at each point of the triangle.
And we were, of course, very astonished to find that the next day, precisely that shape appeared in a field.
We walked out onto the end of this long land formation, and as we got to the very end, there glistening in the sun below us was the perfect formation, identical to what we had envisioned.
We clearly do have an intelligence involved, which is
Not sure you'd pick the Thorpes to represent the human race.
Brain patterns.
I mean, I would just be a.
It seems very
just
evident
for me,
to us
you
that
know.
this is all about communication. They, whoever they are communicating to us with these ciphers in
I
the
would have to
field.
put my own interests above
in
the
our
interests
CSETI
of
protocol,
humanity, because
we've
when would you
communicated
ever get
with
that
them,
opportunity?
And they've answered back.
When we saw the existence of this formation, we considered that to be a very high-level CE5.
Imagine the aliens watching Hooplandia. UFOologists have proven beyond doubt that alien broads have at least sea cuppers. Wow.
Exhilarated by their success, the CSETI team mounted another investigation nearby at Alton Barnes. Bad weather forced most of the team to abandon the overnight surveillance. But Dr. Greer and three
Getting
others
high with aliens and watching
persevered.
Hooplandia.
At approximately 12:20 a.m., Chris Mansell was banging on my window, and I opened the door and I said, "What is wrong?" And
His
he said, "There
source is that
a
he had a
spaceship coming
close
right to the
encounter of
bloody
the
field."
sixth kind.
It must have been 80 to 100 feet across. Very large.
And at this point,
Yeah, I don't have the completely like clean version of it. I have like the version I watched and reacted to.
we were able to extricate one of these high-powered lights, and we began to signal to it. So I took the light and
nice,
I hit
man.
it twice with this very high-powered light, 2 flashes, and paused.
To my ultimate surprise, it actually flashed back. And he did it again, and it flashed back again. It's just amazing, uncanny, really.
Yep.
This event certainly ranks as one of
That's the only reason I was able to do my reaction video, was because YouTube took it down and struck it, but kept the VOD up for a while.
the most significant human-initiated encounters in history, and I think it speaks to the possibilities which await us in the future.
One such possibility is accurately
Ooh, Grace just needs to get on the UFO. Start a new life. Don't waste your youth, Grace.
predicting when and where a CE-5 will occur. Roy Dutton is a British aerospace engineer who has amassed records on thousands of reported UFO sightings. Given a specific location, Dutton believes he can predict the date and time of the area's next sighting.
I can very, very quickly produce a predictions graph for any place on Earth.
Oh my God, I
Roy
don't know.
Dutton did predict the events that occurred.
Can
at
you
Alton Barnes.
upload it as
Just
like
mentioned
a
that day, the day
unlisted?
of the 26th, and he had, for that part of England, had stated that there would be high likelihood of sightings at around 10:30, which is when we did have the first sightings, and then again at 12:30. The sightings which
Oh my
occurred
God, these
that night
lights are,
were
like,
congruent
trippy.
with his predictions.
We, in our CSETI work, have communicated to them, and they've answered. What are the boundaries of this? This is a new chapter in interspecies communication.
Wow.
CSETI members believe that the increasing number of UFO sightings reported over the past 40 years are more than coincidence. They believe the growing number of sightings are part of an extraterrestrial master plan to prepare us, they say, for formal contact in the near future.
Coming up, a landmark that's become the site of an investigation after a psychic channeling.
Robert the pirate spoke through me, and he spoke about underground tunnels
Wow.
and buried treasure.
Some women have a new secret. The new Playtex Secrets Panty Slimmer.
What?
Of course it's pretty, but the real secret?
I'm getting the feeling that like they don't. Do they think that did sightings, like, it must have had a really high female audience for them to like focus ads like this so much, especially. Well, I guess we never. This is the first time we're seeing a lot of stuff, or the ads on this, because most of the ones that we've been watching haven't had any ads at all. So maybe all the advertising was like, it was always like that.
That targets your tummy to control you where you need it most. The secret's
Oh my
out.
God, 20
New
20
Playtex
hours.
Secrets Panty Slimmer and matching bras. Shh, it really works.
Dear Big Cheese, my
Yeah, I remember Johnny
a
Somali
little
showed up.
Caesar's Big Cheese with you.
Oh, look at this, guys. The big cheese.
Dear little Caesar.
Wrong, kid. I'm George Barnes.
Oh,
Let's eat.
okay.
It's the biggest pizza in the history of the world. 24 slices of cheese and pepperoni pizza,
Wow.
all for $8.88.
Oh my gosh,
See
$8.88.
this waiting room? A lot of those are sinus problems, not just cold. But this is tough on both. Advil cold and sinus. Sinus?
Yeah.
What a surprise.
Advil Cold and Sinus, advanced formula for the cold and sinus season.
What could be worse than a yeast infection?
How about the cost of curing it?
Wow. Yeah, The ads are definitely
Monostat 7,
aimed at a specific demographic.
It's a real alternative. Trust FemCare, the cure that costs less.
In a bizarre premonition, this mother wrote a detailed account of her daughter's murder months before it
killed
happened.
my daughter.
On
It's like a
another
Lifetime
episode of
movie.
Sightings, coming up next.
There are hills and mountains between us, always something to get over. If I had my way, surely you would be.
I miss the day that like that with the Kmart with the Little Caesars in
Could be
them.
a big problem for small business. Nobody has more ways to help
Those
you
were
with bigger
great.
markets than South Central
I miss
Bell.
having like a
Won't it
real
be
pizza
easier to
place
reach
at a
new
mall.
customers?
Get here if you can.
Up and down the eastern seaboard, local folklore is filled with stories and legends about the pirates who once ruled the Atlantic coast.
Now I want mall
Their
pizza.
exploits on the high seas are intriguing, but still more tantalizing are the stories of buried treasure the pirates left behind. Now historians, archaeologists,
I
and the
heard he lived to be
psychic are teaming
105
up
by
to find
eating
one treasure
box.
trove that they all believe may
Beninsky.
lie buried in New Jersey. One of the most notorious pirates in North America was Captain Charles Morgan, who ruled the waters off the coast of New Jersey in the mid-1600s. Many believe that he lived here at an historic site now known as Spy House, so named because of the British spies.
Yeah, like
who
what's a Little
imprisoned here
Caesars pizza
during
now?
the
10
American
bucks
Revolution.
for just like a
3
large.
years ago, local psychic Jane Doherty visited Spy House to investigate eyewitness reports of paranormal activity.
As I came through the house, I picked up various information, went into a trance, and Robert the pirate spoke through me. At first, we didn't know his name. He just came out of me, and he spoke about underground tunnels and buried treasure. When I came out of the trance, we were all very shocked.
Wow,
Even more
trance-related
shocking was
piracy.
confirmation by geophysicist Bruce Bevan that tunnels did indeed
Hey, would
exist
you mind
beneath
pulling
Spy
this
House.
really slow?
Detected 3 lines of echoes out on the other yard of the house. These
Grace
are
would be
caused
pushing her
by
glasses
objects
up while
which
this
are
guy
underground,
talks.
and we might say follow their path for a length of maybe about 20 to 30 feet or so.
The possibility of tunnels under Spy House does not surprise local historians.
When pirates came into shore, what they would do is they
When
would
the
go
pirates
to the center
came
of the
to
harbor,
shore.
and then it was
Come
believed
on,
that they would
man.
use the tunnels to bring in
Who
goods
is this
and
broad?
to
Who's
bring in
is she a pirate
slaves.
expert?
So there's a very good chance that some of these tunnels are still in existence.
This is
In
all
the spring of
speculation.
1993,
Come on.
scientists from Rutgers University will begin an investigation to determine if there are tunnels beneath Spy House. Sightings will bring you the outcome of the Rutgers investigation.
If you've had a paranormal experience,
Oh, here we
our
go.
investigative team would like to know at 1-900-740-SIGHT. Each call 75 cents a minute. Average call lasts 2 minutes, and you must be 18 years or
Wow.
older. Again, the Sightings hotline is 1-900-740-7483.
I think Little Caesars is out of the mango seasonal
When I
drink.
get a yeast infection, I want an effective cure at a reasonable price. So I switched from Gynolotrin to Myselect 7. Because
Anyway, as I
Myselect
was
has the
saying,
same
Little
full
Caesars.
prescription strength medicine, and it costs a lot less. So now my choice.
So
my
if you
cure
want to
is
try it, you
Myselect.
should probably get out there
The
and
no-nonsense
because
American
I've heard there may not be an
No-nonsense
additional
Elaine
shipment sent out.
Garzarelli, international pilot.
Qualified. She has a
The
PhD in
no-nonsense neurosurgeon,
piracy.
Dr. Karen Fagan. Now, the
She's still
best
looking for
no-nonsense
One-Eyed
ever
Willie's
with the
treasure,
confidence of
Bob
triple
Brown.
run guards that stop panty runs where they start. The no-nonsense
Yeah,
actress,
these are so many chick
Christina Ward.
commercials. Wow.
People in pantyhose that get better all the time.
No nonsense American woman.
This is the plan for the B-2 bomber. This is the structure of DNA. This is a long-distance calling plan. What do they all have in common? You can't understand any one of them. Fortunately, Sprint can decipher long distance for you. With priority service,
Hey, listen,
they'll
don't
review
worry
your
about
account
what
and
any of
let
this
you know
stuff
if you're on the
means.
right plan.
My
It's that
my
easy.
bosses will tell
And
you what it
This
means.
is how you call Sprint.
Remember waking up to the hiss of Mom's pancakes hitting the griddle and looking forward to drowning them in rich mapley log cabin syrup? Log cabin, rich maple flavor, and mornings to remember.
Listen up, team! You want to keep your sandwiches fresh? Use Ziploc brand sandwich bags with the Gripper Zipper. Tough, tiny teeth you can feel gripping, so you know freshness is locked in. Let's win one for the gripper.
I was going to
There's
say,
only
look how
one
simple this
Ziploc.
commercial is, but now they just have regular people film them at home. You know what I mean?
You said you wanted a change in this country.
Uh-oh, here we
Meatloaf
go.
Sandwich at Burger King.
BKTV.
Flame broiled meatloaf.
Flame broiled meatloaf.
Sesame seed bun.
It's delicious.
Hey guys, I'm back with another taste test. This time I'm trying the BK
Join us
flaming
next time
meatloaf.
for new investigations into the unexplained. For Sightings, I'm Tim White.
Stay tuned for more sightings.
Oh my gosh. Okay, now we need 22. UFO cover up. Missing link. Oh man, we missed the missing link story. It's a sourdough.
Tonight on Sightings.
It was not a natural phenomenon.
Okay, so after this one, we should be caught up. Like we'll have seen these episodes have filled in like the gaps in the other playlist.
It was some sort of a manned craft.
We investigate a frightening UFO encounter that may have become a government cover-up. Then, in a Sightings exclusive, have we captured Bigfoot on videotape?
This is the most compelling evidence to date that there is a Sasquatch.
I'm so glad we didn't miss these. I think every one of them has been a banger today. Well, you probably get a haircut. Oh, you're missing one. Did you ever read his book?
Welcome to Sightings. I'm Tim White. If there really have been UFO landings in the United States, why isn't there any hard evidence? Why haven't UFOs appeared on radar?
This is the most
Ufologists answer
compelling
that our
evidence I've
government
ever
has
seen.
purposely and systematically suppressed information about alien spacecraft. And they point to an astonishing case on a U.S. military base in Great Britain. For nearly 50 years, UFO researchers have maintained that the U.S. government has systematically withheld information about encounters with aliens. Such contact may have occurred in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. The U.S. government says it never happened. Some believe that alien technology is currently being tested in the notorious and top-secret Area 51 in the Nevada desert. The U.S. government refuses to comment. But under the authority of the Freedom of Information Act, previously classified documents have been released. They shed light on what may have been an intentional U.S. government cover-up of UFO contact occurring in England in 1980. The 81st Tactical Fighter Wing of the U.S. Air Force was located 60 miles northeast of London, between the towns of Bentwaters and Woodbridge. It was here on December 26, 1980, members of base security claimed to have witnessed one of the most bizarre events in UFO history.
The whole thing was weird. It just didn't seem right.
Airman First Class John Burroughs and his partner were on a routine patrol around the base perimeter when they spotted unusual activity in the nearby woods.
My partner initially saw some strange lights. So we went ahead and looked at each other and we decided we better kind of see what's going on because it didn't seem normal.
At the very same moment, the control tower at London's Heathrow Airport reported the sudden appearance of several unidentified flying objects on radar.
I think if we would have been armed, we might have even fired on it. I mean, it really, there was whatever it was, scared us.
I was going to bed and through the side windows here, I saw these lights.
Local resident Jerry Harris was one of a handful of civilians who reported strange phenomena that night. He recalls the encounter.
Well, they moved sort of sideways, this way, and then they'd go down and they'd come back up again.
This guy's the guy
The
that
next
nobody
morning,
wants
British
to fuck
police
at the orgy.
investigated the area around the alleged sighting. They found 3 circular impressions in the ground, exactly 12 feet apart, forming a perfect equilateral triangle. The surrounding trees.
Have you ever seen a documentary about the real story about that chimp attack? It's so crazy. I love watching the like dime store Joe Exotic people where they end up getting a pet that runs amok. There's a bunch of them on Tubi.
Trees had been damaged.
It looked like something had landed
Robert
there.
Ball.
Came straight down through the trees and rested long enough to leave 3-4 inch indentations in the ground.
I was kind of hoping we'd go out there and we wouldn't find anything. And we just, it'd be like, because if you can't explain it, it bothers you.
The next night, strange lights were reported again. Deputy Base Commander Colonel Charles Holt quickly assembled a special investigative team to search the woods.
Lights were observed moving in geometric patterns, mainly in squares, everything traveling at right angles. They go for a set distance and do a sharp left or right bank.
Colonel Holt and his team not only witnessed the light phenomenon, but they were also able to document their sightings on film and audio tape. Listen to part of Holt's recording at the scene.
Here he comes from the south. He's coming toward us now. Yes, now we're observing what appears to be a beam coming down to the ground. It's unreal. 330, and the objects are still in the sky, although the one to the south looks like it's losing a little bit of altitude. We're turning around, heading back toward the base.
In the distance, you could see lights flying around.
What are my thoughts on Adam, aka War Chief, living with Grace in Rhode Island? I mean, she's a grown adult. I mean, I didn't really get into I don't know too much about their dynamic or whatever, but I mean, it's whatever. I mean, I don't know.
And you can see like a stream of white light.
Whether it'll be good for content or not, it just depends on what kind of content you want. But maybe Grace is like maybe she's going to move out of the content business and she's looking to settle down and become the trad wife to the war chief.
That came down to the ground.
Soon after that initial
they
sighting,
could be slow boiling Ben.
UFO appeared to the airmen, a single red hovering light.
We followed it for quite a distance, 2-3 miles. All the time it stayed just a bit ahead of us.
Then the most extraordinary event of the night
occurred.
It looked like a shaft of light came down from the sky. It was momentary.
I wish I would have known if I'm friends with Coco Beware.
But I observed it, Colonel Holt observed it, and the 2 other individuals with us observed it.
It was like, it hurt your eyes almost. It was so bright.
Because of this inexplicable encounter, a special unit from European headquarters was dispatched to Bentwaters to take over the investigation.
We were told that whatever we saw out there from then on, we were not to call in on the radio or report in, that people were aware of that something had happened or something could still be going on.
The team confiscated all physical evidence of the encounter, including Colonel Holt's tape recordings,
horse riding tours of where they saw the UFO.
All of that material was gathered up. It was considered technical intelligence. Therefore, it went to Ramstein Air Force Base.
Okay.
Now retired from Army intelligence, Clifford Stone was stationed at Hanau, West Germany at the time of the Bentwaters investigation. According to Stone, news about the UFO landing spread like wildfire.
We learned about that one, right?
They considered that craft to be under intelligent control, and they did not consider that intelligence to be of this Earth.
With so many credible witnesses, there's little doubt that something anomalous occurred that night. But what was it?
There was no doubt it was an unidentified flying object, which is what a UFO is. The blue lights that we saw and what...
I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think Grace is becoming somewhat like... And I'm talking about gradually, incrementally over time, but like becoming detached from the content?
They were capable of doing could lead you to believe possibly that they were intelligent.
It was not a natural phenomenon. It was some sort of a manned or unmanned craft, and it was being controlled by someone.
Despite so much eyewitness testimony, skeptics maintain the encounter was not the result of otherworldly phenomena.
Let's say that this wasn't a UFO incident. What is it that can cause highly trained Air Force security policemen who are armed to the teeth with automatic weapons, grenade launchers, pistols?
Very patriotic.
What can cause them to run away from a light in the woods?
Chuck DeCaro was a Defense Department correspondent for CNN who traveled to England to research the Bentwaters incident. He's heard many explanations for the strange lights.
This was an important base. It had a nuclear weapons storage dump. If these guys were hallucinating, as some debunkers have claimed...
Oh, by the way, VP is doing panels now, sometimes.
What were they doing guarding those self-same nuclear weapons the next day and the next week?
Others have speculated that the UFO was a top-secret U.S. military aircraft, used to test the responses of base security forces.
ATF media is going to say that he doesn't care about War Chief, Bar Chief, Whore Chief, Chief Maxer, Chief Thorpe, War Thorpe, or any of these other nobodies.
Exercised on a regular basis through every possible contingency at the ground troops.
Yeah, I feel like, I think you're right.
There was no need for the Air Force to come up with something extra.
There is another possibility involving technology known as psychotronic or radio frequency weapons.
There are those experts in the area of radio frequency weapons who say that RF energy can be delivered in such a form as to have an effect on human psychology or physiology.
Sightings of unexplained lights identical to those reported at Bentwaters had also been reported in the former Soviet Union. Experts suggest these reports may be the result of experiments using similar weaponry. Unfortunately, none of these theories can be fully explored because the U.S. Air Force has refused to acknowledge that any encounters occurred. Some believe there's been a cover-up.
I ended up going to Korea, and I can't prove it, but I really wasn't due for an assignment, and they kind of got me out of here in a hurry.
Any attempt to gather physical evidence at the site is now impossible. The alleged landing site has been destroyed. When our sightings crew visited Bentwaters, this was all that remained of the woods.
All that there, yes, the whole lot, 10,000 acres, was absolutely devastated.
British UFO researcher Brenda Butler has been investigating the Bentwaters sighting since 1981. She claims that her efforts have been sabotaged by the U.S. and British governments.
The Ministry of Defence have been on to us and telling us to keep quiet and, you know, not to say anything about it. What we can't understand is why this case, when all the other cases we've been on, we've been allowed to talk about it.
I have no doubt that our government and other governments are withholding information. They don't know what's going on, or if they do, they're not willing to share that information with the general populace. And sooner or later, it's all going to come out.
It wasn't until one of the base commander's top-secret memos was released in 1983 that any information about the Bentwaters UFOs was made public. The U.S. Air Force still refuses to comment.
Could it have been a weapons experiment? Possibly. Could it have been a visitation from a UFO? Possibly. Is there a cover-up? Probably. Is there more to come from the Bentwaters incident? You bet.
The United States Air Force continues to deny that a UFO encounter occurred at Bentwaters. Without the military's cooperation, the documents obtained through the Freedom of Information Act remain just one more tantalizing clue for scores of conspiracy theorists. They remain convinced that the government has top-secret UFO information and plans to keep it that way.
Coming up, is this really a Bigfoot captured on videotape?
This is the most compelling evidence to date that there is a Sasquatch.
A Sightings exclusive next.
Whether you know it is Sasquatch or Bigfoot, there is evidence that points to the existence of an enormous creature, half man, half ape. It could be the elusive missing link. Anthropologists are studying footprints, handprints, and now a new film exclusive to Sightings that appears to some to be authentic. Serious researchers won't give up their quest for proof that Bigfoot is a living, breathing creature stalking the woods of North America. Sightings has brought you startling footage before, and now a surge in reports brings new information about this elusive monster. There are new eyewitness accounts, plaster footprints, photographs, and this exclusive videotape.
This is the most compelling evidence to date that there is a Sasquatch.
Researchers have now discovered what they believe is a pattern of Bigfoot activity, concentrated in eastern Washington state near the Idaho border. With over 50 sightings in the past year, local police here take Bigfoot reports seriously. One officer, Michael Bisbee, took us to the site of his own encounter.
Early evening, about 6:30, 7 o'clock, I was on patrol in an area known as McCormick Ridge.
This guy should be recalled immediately.
Object was walking away from me, walking into the timber. I really didn't know what it was.
I didn't really get a good look at him. He was running so fast.
Rodney Peoples.
There's no human could run that fast.
My boss got nervous
you know, and after we started working again, he was worried about it trying to sneak around and trying to come, you know, do something to us, you know, sneak attack us is what he said.
Based on the high concentration of sightings here, our investigative team mounted an expedition into the area, headed by researcher Cliff Crook. Cliff and his partner Dean Smith believe that only a small, unobtrusive team would have any chance of capturing a Bigfoot on film. It was just this kind of expedition, led by Roger Patterson in 1967,
I remember that movie,
resulted in a startling piece of evidence.
That had a
this
couple really good
16mm
scenes
film
in it.
is believed to be the only authenticated Bigfoot footage to date. Patterson's partner Bob Gimlin was there.
When we came upon the creature, it was standing still by the creek. It immediately turned around and started to walk away. There is no way that this could ever be falsified, or any man could be in a suit because of the movement of the muscle underneath the hair.
The Patterson film is the second best evidence after some footprints.
Maybe War Chief is going to kidnap her like Borat
Washington State
did,
University.
like the Borat guy
His
did,
scholarly
Pamela
research
Anderson.
concludes that Bigfoot is real.
This is one of the most interesting ones. It's a 14.5-inch track. It shows what we call dermal ridges, the little fingerprint type ridges. And these have been studied by police fingerprint experts, and no one's found any flaw in any of them. This one is the imprint of some knuckles of the right hand. You can see it's substantially larger than my hand, and this is the thumb over here. The individual apparently stumbled, hit the hand on the ground, and left the imprint, and the cast was made of those 4 digits curled around, and the 5th digit, the thumb, coming out to the side. Right here is the thumbnail.
Oh, show about Henry Winkler has a Bigfoot cast of a thumbs up.
Professor
Come
Kratz
on.
divides his research time between lab study and expeditions into the field. He is constantly searching for new evidence to support his theories. His findings indicate that Bigfoot is nocturnal, a creature of the night. Sightings brought a specially equipped starlight filter into the research area. We hope that this night vision feature would increase our chances of finding an actual Bigfoot. Unfortunately, bad weather forced us to end the investigation before any sightings occurred.
Then why'd they show it to us?
Soon after our team left the area, an anonymous videotape arrived with a Washington State postmark.
Yeah, I felt like
there
it was
are those
like...
who believe this is...
I felt like the vibe of it and the atmosphere was really well done, and it had a couple like really, really good scenes, but the overall, yeah, it didn't really like... I guess it's kind of hard to pay off something like that.
Is actual footage of a small, possibly female Bigfoot. The creature appears in 2 sections of this VHS tape. The tape is played in its entirety. Here, the supposed Bigfoot moves behind some trees and then unexpectedly turns toward the camera. Washington-based photo analyst Mike Stusser studied this videotape for sightings.
The most compelling evidence in the tape is as simple as a head turn. In hoaxes, you see an animal that may be someone in a suit move with their head and their neck, and real Bigfoot specimens would move as a gorilla with their entire torso, and their head would move similarly.
The typical ape posture has the shoulders carried very high, and the mouth and the jaw is lower than the shoulder. So if an ape wants to turn its head, its jaw runs into its shoulder. The creature that Patterson watched turned its head, and then the shoulder...
Oh, I meant to tell you guys, Jimmy has started saying foolishness. So we're getting that little bit, just a teeny tiny crossover between Jimmy and Savvy Guy.
Went with it in what you, just as what you would expect with an ape.
In the Patterson footage, you can see that the animal's walking straight forward, but then when he turns to see the cameraman, his entire body, his torso and all, moves up and to the right.
Up
Here in
and
the
to
most
the right.
recent Washington footage, you've got the animal
Ember,
crouched
I'm
in the
watching all
clearing
of the
here,
Teenage
and then as it
Mutant
starts
Ninja
to
Turtles
look
movies
towards
right
the camera person, its entire torso comes up and to the left. Its whole body, not just the neck, but up and to the left. Very similar to the Patterson footage.
Is this evidence of the legendary missing link? Experts are divided, but they all continue to gather evidence. Although there is no proof positive that Bigfoot exists, to many the circumstantial evidence is overwhelming, and researchers remain dedicated to finding that one piece of hard evidence that will finally lay the controversy to rest. Joining us now is Richard Greenwell, Secretary for the International Society of Cryptozoology. Richard has conducted numerous expeditions in search of Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster.
Richard, thanks for joining us. You've had a chance to look now at the new Bigfoot footage. What do you make of it? Is it the real thing or a hoax?
I'd say probably a hoax. For one thing, the supposed creature looks very much like a costume to me. Its gait and movement is wrong. The gait is very human-like, and the movement is very slow.
What else would you need to see to be sure that one exists?
Well, the only evidence that's going to convince...
Is that the one that there's like a picture of, and it's like the dog, they like had the dog like jumping up on him in the display?
The zoologist and the anthropologist is physical remains, bones, or a part of an animal, or a complete animal, dead or alive. That's the bottom line.
I've watched those, and I always forget them, and I end up never. I don't think I've reviewed any of them, but I've checked them out from the library and watched them like 2 or 3 times, and I just always forget them.
Is there any sort of photographic evidence or videotape evidence that you would find
I just always
persuasive?
remember the scene at the mirror from the first
There was
one,
film footage that was in conjunction with extremely good eyewitness testimony from reliable people, then that would be a very strong case. Otherwise, when it's a videotape that comes in, you don't know who took it, or it's questionable, has very little value.
If you were a betting man, Richard, what would you say the odds are that there is a Bigfoot?
Well, I may get into trouble for this, but I'd say, in my opinion, based on all the evidence I've looked at and the 3,000 reports, I would say that the odds are just over 50% that there is a living Sasquatch or Bigfoot.
Richard Greenwell, thank you very much for being with us. And we will be back with more sightings in just a moment.
Coming up, a rash of UFO sightings in Wisconsin leads to a special investigation.
I believe that there's an intelligent life force out there somewhere, and I think it's visiting.
We receive home videos from all over North America of what viewers believe are UFOs. Recently, we received 3 separate tapes from 3 different individuals who don't know each other. Yet they all shot the same thing.
Hold on, I watched like the Unbreakable trilogy, and I watched Signs, Sixth Sense, The Village. That might have been it. I think I watched all those in like a week.
Unidentified flying objects over Wisconsin.
But I'll do that. I'll like get really like hyper focused on one theme or whatever, or franchise, and then I'll just like drop it in the middle and move on to something else. But I always come back.
A bright light outside of Julie Graceffa's bedroom
One
window
day I'll finish
compelled her to grab her
Jungle
camcorder
Boy.
and shoot into the Milwaukee night.
I did begin to believe that they did want me to film them for some purpose, for some reason.
Kevin Crump was driving his grandmother home
like a
when
Benny
he
Slugger
grabbed his
video.
video camera.
At first, I thought it was a plane, but then when I slowed down and we looked, it shot out a blue light out of the back end. And we knew then it couldn't have been a plane.
A friend's phone call sent Beaver Dam resident Carol Putz into her yard with camera in tow.
I believe that there's an intelligent life force out there somewhere, and I think it's visiting.
Our dispatch center received about 12 calls from people stating that they had too seen these unexplainable lights in the...
I think my favorite one, even though I think it's one of his worst movies, is the one with Mark Wahlberg, where it's like nature run amok. I gave away over 100 copies of it back on its 10th anniversary. Like I bought a bunch of like 100 copies on DVD total, and then I was like giving them out to people. But unfortunately, I couldn't find people to take all of them.
The sky. There's no doubt in my mind that there was something there.
Those first calls came in on January 31st, 1993. 2 sheriff's deputies tracked the strange lights for more than 20 minutes as they headed west, then sharply south into neighboring Jefferson County.
What we've had with these recent sightings in Wisconsin
You
are
met Jimmy
incredible
Hart.
people
How'd that
seeing
go?
incredible things. And it's also an added plus when the individuals that are...
Knowing you probably told him that you found his character to be very understated and dignified through his performance.
reporting are trained observers.
Yeah,
I believe the credibility of the people. I believe my deputies that they did see something. It's unexplained at this time. And as far as I'm concerned, I won't close it out until we have an answer to it.
And if that answer is visitors from another planet, at least one witness welcomes the possibility of an alien encounter.
Who says we're the only life forms around? Something or somebody living has got to be somewhere else. You know, we're not that special.
The number of sightings in Wisconsin has caused some residents to believe their area has been chosen for a close encounter of the third kind.
I don't want to be alone in it anymore. I want other people to see it now. I want witnesses with me. It's getting to be a little scary, the fact this thing is out here every night. And when is it going to go away? Is it going to be here forever or what?
You should.
If you've sighted what you believe to be a UFO, or if you've captured on film or videotape any type of paranormal activity, our Sightings investigative team wants to know about it.
Please
if you've had a paranormal experience, call the Sightings hotline at 1-900-740-SIGHT. That's 1-900-740-SITE. Each call...
You can see poor Jimmy Hart on some... Hulk will live stream sometimes from whatever that place is called. Or post videos too, and like Jimmy Hart's in a lot of them, and it's just like he reminds me of that Futurama version of Spuds McKenzie, like whatever the Slurms McKenzie or whatever, and he was just like, I'm so tired of partying.
75 cents a minute, average call lasts 2 minutes, and you must be 18 years or older. Again, the Sightings hotline number is 1-900-740-7483.
The happening is just so outlandish. The acting is
being standing next to the bed. I was afraid to look at the face. I was afraid to see what it looked like.
I became paralyzed. They opened my back.
Experience another Sightings next. Join us next time for new investigations into the unexplained. For Sightings, I'm Tim White.
Okay, listen. That catches us up to pick up next time. So we're all caught up. Let's see if we can find the Cherry 2000 trailer. Here we go. Here's the trad girl.
In the future, the world has survived. Romance has not.
All right, so we'll say a dinner, complete sexual encounter, optional episode in the morning, right?
I gotta run this past my own lawyer.
Pleasure is strictly business. But it will be possible to have the perfect mate. A Cherry 2000.
Looks great.
You think Cherry 2000 imprinted on me pretty strongly?
Desirable. She'll never run out on him. Just short out.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry, kid. Total internal meltdown.
Damn.
Now you got her basic memory right here. Vocal patterns, verbal, whatever. Basic voice. Don't look so glum. Your chassis out for the count, all right? You got the chip, you go in, you pick yourself out a new model, you slide it in the slot, you got yourself your girl back in a brand new frame. Give me a call if you find a Cherry.
He don't want those other
Look, my friend, you're gonna be a
chicks.
very
He
old
wants the
man,
trad
rounded
girl.
metal and bone dry before you find one of those in these parts. That's a chance I'll just have to take.
Then the adventure begins.
Why don't you hire a tracker to go into Zone 7?
We got it.
It's a really great movie.
Policy against trackers in these parts.
Nobody goes into Zone 7. They got one of the original warehouses down there. Girls stacked.
Great world building.
I'm looking for someone to go into Zone 7.
I'm E. Johnson.
Borderlands.
You're not gonna find anybody better than me, mister. I'm not a machine.
I'm not a trad girl, mister.
Do you know where they keep these babies? We call it the graveyard. It is the worst place in the zone.
I'm a crazy Canadian
Maybe I could get in there
alcoholic.
to find this thing, but I need somebody riding shotgun in order to make it out in one piece.
Oh my God, look at that. It's
Till they
amazing.
drop. If you think it's tough to meet the right people now, wait till you go looking for a Cherry 2000.
You think your life's bad now. Wait till you try to get a Cherry 2000. All right, hold on a second. I want to show you one other thing here. This might take a minute. I don't know what this is, but it came up in my feed a few times. And I'm kind of on like a bee trip right now. I posted some bee content not too long ago. Here we go. We want part 1. Sam Splains the World. So this one has 85 views. I can't tell how many subscribers she has. But I want to watch this one episode real quick.
How to move around it, and that is what they naturally do, right there.
Yeah.
I was thinking about doing a thumbnail.
So it is really warm out, and I am super excited to share with you guys that...
Okay. So Samantha Bremekamp, she's got 28 subscribers, 85 views 11 days ago.
We have bees that just moved in, and our luck couldn't be better because this week I'm going to learn all about bees at an apiary, and my apiary friend Kim, who has Americana Apiary here in Berks County, is on her way to collect this swarm to add to her bee collection.
This
these
is
are good
Uncut
bees,
Boyd, guys.
but because of where we live,
Two-part special.
it's right by the sidewalk, and it can be dangerous for people who have allergies. If we had acres, I would just relocate them with the help of Kim. But now they're going to be going to her house, and then we are going to be going to her house to meet all of the bees, to see the relocated bees, and to learn about beekeeping on this super incredible all-new episode of Sam Explains the World.
Listen,
Friday at 9
let's keep
p.m.
an open mind
on
about
BCTV.
Sam Explains the World.
I think so.
Yeah, let's close the garage, Kevin.
How the bees organized in this bush. Now, I have some bee content up on my page, and what I did was I went to a beginner's apiary class where they were installing the new colony for the season or whatever, the new queen, whatever. And everyone else there was like, took it really seriously and had like a bunch of like protective equipment on. And I just walked into the middle of all of it with like nothing, like no, well, I had clothes on, obviously. I'm not OPC Don, but I was fully clothed at the apiary. And I just walked in and like they swarmed all over me. I've got a video of me like being swarmed by bees, but it was pretty vibey. I really felt connected to nature.
Wait for it.
I was saying to look for, because what they're doing is they're all...
It was just like at some guy's house.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's like how they start building the hive.
Are you talking about...
Like, they build it around her.
I'm
What's
sure.
That guy? Robert Zadar.
But I feel like they had to find the right thing.
You know what? This is a really, I'm not endorsing this story at all, but it's probably the only time maybe we'll be talking about Robert Zadar for a long time. I used to be friends with this guy who was like just a complete asshole, and we used to go to all the little like movie nostalgia conventions around. And he asked that guy, Robert Zadar, or he told that guy, Robert Zadar, that he really loved him in that movie Mask. And I was like, it was so cringe. I was like, oh my God, dude.
That's why they were falling off before.
Okay.
They were starting.
Kim and Dave asses. Chat replay is disabled for this video. Yeah, Laughing Cedar, you'd be a wonderful beekeeper. The queen has moved on.
Oh, might be a moot point.
So what happens?
They may have found a new home.
Oh my God, look at all the bees.
Okay, I am here with Kim and Dave from the Americana Apiary, which perfect timing because we have what was starting out as a hive, but the good news is...
This is
Kim
fantastic.
is just telling me.
So this is a swarm. The
This is-
bees
hey,
in the
this is
original
a
colony
swarm.
got too claustrophobic, so to speak. It got too full, and they decided, okay, half of us has to leave. The old queen went with the bees that left, and she can only fly so far, so she went to your bush and landed. They all clustered around her. The scout bees went out and found a new home, And
wow, what a
then
story.
they came back and told these bees, hey, we found a new place, got them all excited.
Yeah.
And then they just left, of course, right as we got here.
Sorry.
I know.
I'm so sorry.
No, it was perfect timing though. Right as we got here, and they left, and they're off to their new house.
Okay.
Turning on the high beams. For real though, listen. Don't you think, like, for somebody, I mean, I understand if you don't like the topic or whatever, but, like, I feel like this is quality. I feel like this is well made. I feel like it's good content. It's kind of wild. Like, I'm not saying, like, 1 million subscribers, but it's, like, surprising 28.
Which ended up, although I had wanted them to go be relocated to Americana Apiary, at least they're not in my bush anymore, so I don't have to be worried
She didn't
about
wanna fly
people walking
far.
past it. But how
Any port
fascinating
in
and
a
awesome
storm.
is that? So cool. Hello and welcome to this very special field trip edition to Sam Slansa World. I'm your host, Samantha Bremenkamp, and lo and behold, I have made it to Americana Apiary with Kim and Dave, who have taught me the wonders of honey.
She should do a Bethadone, like.
And how to end up with pure gold.
There she goes.
Without further ado, let's go see how everything works. Well, hello. Not my normal outfit. I am here at the Americana Apiary.
I'm constantly over advocating for trash. No, wait. Look at this. Look at this content. Come on. She had a bee issue in her neighborhood, which she documented well. Now we're on a road trip to learn even more about bees.
With Kim and Dave, and we're going to learn all things bees. What are we doing?
So today we're going through this colony. It is a swarm that we caught the same day that we were at your house trying to catch that swarm.
Which is amazing.
They just need some OPC magic.
Let's see how they're doing.
Yeah. So cool.
We smoked the entrance just to get them a little bit interested in that.
Okay.
There's different theories on what.
Like, again, I'm not saying that, like, you must like this, but regardless of the content, I'm saying, like, it's well done. Like, it's well shot. It sounds good. It looks good. The editing was good earlier on. The graphics are okay. I just feel like it's much better. It's at least better made, regardless, like, than you would expect from a 28 subscriber channel.
That does, whether it's that they think there's a forest fire and they start gorging on honey down below, or it distracts them. That's a hive beetle.
Oh,
I think in one of the videos that I posted of me at the apiary, there's like a guy next to me that's like keeps talking to me, but at one point I think you can hear him like ask me if I'm okay.
Get rid of that.
Gotta kill those. They're bad.
That's a
They go
pest.
after larvae, right?
Yeah, that's a pest. They'll make it all slimy inside.
Oh, gross. Okay. Hi, everybody. How awesome.
So, thankfully, they're still here.
Okay.
They
very
didn't
cool.
abscond. They decided they did like where we put them. So that's a good.
I will say she could benefit from an extra
and I will
person.
take my hive tool.
Because we could really use some. This hard cam is good, but we need a handheld in close on this shit would be nice too.
Right.
You know what you're doing, obviously.
And these are just wow. Now these are frames that we
Mark
put in
Fusion
there.
coded.
just
Wow.
Give them familiarity.
Right. They're not the
Amazing.
greatest frames we had.
Okay.
We weren't expecting a swarm to show up.
Right. Right.
That must have been
so
some
cool.
swarm, Bob.
So I took the first frame out to make room, and then I can move the other frames.
Okay. Wow. If you were to guesstimate like how many are part of this swarm, what would you think?
Yeah, I'd love to see
It's
it
probably
up close
about
there. I'd like to
this
see
is a
the
smaller one, so
inside the
it's
hive.
probably about the same as like a package.
Okay.
If someone would go and buy a package of these, like 3 pounds.
Yeah. Okay.
It was quite small.
Okay.
So that would be about 10, 15,000.
Yeah. Yeah. Quite small, 10 to 15,000.
Yeah.
How many would you guess were at my house that day?
That was a big one.
Yeah.
That was, I wish we would have gotten that one.
Yeah, me too.
That was really big. So this frame had really dark wax on it.
You'd prefer bees
and you
than
notice
made
how this
peanut
is
butter?
really light. This is stuff they've actually drawn out.
Wow. Okay.
So when a
Yeah, that's true,
swarm
Ember.
is flying, they're all full of honey. They're geared to
OPC
start a new
Kush?
hive,
No.
or a new colony.
This
So
hits
they're
for me
ready
on
to
two
go.
levels.
Okay.
It has that like innocence of prime time, but then I'm also like really bee coded right now. Like I want to go back out to the bees, but I feel like I'm in like too. I don't know if I could function properly and socially in a bee situation. I feel like I might start to like hallucinate that I've entered the realm of Amuz-N-Kab, the Mayan god of bees or whatever. You just don't know how those things are going to shake out.
And they've drawn this out, and you can see they've already actually added nectar to it.
That's
Better
so cool.
I watch somebody else at the
Oh
apiary.
man, they just already automatically always know what to do.
Yep,
That's
they knew exactly what they needed to do to get going.
Wow.
And so what I'm doing now is looking for signs that the queen is here, and
this is so cool.
That it's a healthy colony.
Yeah.
And we saw a hive beetle. There's ants.
Oh yes.
You know, one hive beetle is no big deal.
Yeah, if there was an infestation, it'd be a bigger deal.
They'll take care of the ants.
And I want everybody to realize the bees are very calm with us because we are very calm. We're not threatening. Oh boy.
Like I said, I
Oh,
saw
boy.
them together, and that's a medium frame.
Wow. Okay.
Look at all that honey.
Oh, how
of
funny.
of a deeper box.
Oh my God, she should
So,
eat
yeah,
some of
so
it.
They added,
Oh wow.
and which
George
is actually
would
not
eat some
bad
of it.
because that is a way to control varroa.
Yeah. Okay.
Usually they'll do drone comb down there,
Okay.
which varroa mites love.
Okay.
And it's a way to do a management for that. I would scrape it off and then get rid of all that.
What is
An army
that?
of 306
The
bees.
varroa mite is an
it's a mite.
awful mite. It feeds on the fat bodies of the bee, and it opens them up to all kinds of viruses, bacteria, infections that they can get.
Yeah, that's good.
It's horrible because it's so tiny that by the time a beekeeper is actually seeing it visibly, it's
over almost.
you're infested. So you have to do inspections for varroa, where you actually will take a scoop of bees and put them in a jar and put some alcohol in there and shake it up.
They would
now, unfortunately, you're
register
going
him
to
as
kill
a
those
threat.
bees.
Okay.
But all those mites will drop off of the
and you'll
bees,
see.
and you're able to count them and see how many
They couldn't
mites
hurt
you
Doug
have,
Locke because he's got all that
you know,
baby
per
oil on
inch
his skin.
to see how
bad it is. Okay.
right. And based on that, you can decide what you need to do, if anything.
Right.
Oh, look at
Wow,
this.
look how happy
Oh,
they are.
imagine if you had somebody with a
They're busy.
handheld.
They're like
Oh,
busy bees.
I'm telling you, just having those cuts just to mix it up a little. I don't mind the static shot, but I know for like
queen
a
yet,
wider audience,
I feel like we're getting close.
be good to have the handheld,
I
and it would
wish
just
this
look
was a
cool.
brighter, sunnier day.
I know.
It does look like there's larvae in here.
Oh,
if you can see back of the cells here,
yeah,
it's white.
Yes. Oh yes. Okay. They're already like they have really taken to you guys already.
So it does look like she's in here and she's laying.
Wow, that's great.
Wish we could find her.
Yeah.
Man, I wish I could get something like that, man.
Oh, there she is.
How? Okay.
Right there.
I'm
Okay,
approaching
didn't
a
like me
weed
moving fast like
vortex.
that.
I
But
see her.
there
She's
she
so
is.
she's so different compared
Yep.
to everybody else. I was wondering like how will we tell? That's awesome. We'll have to do a
So yeah,
close
so
up of
she's
that.
here.
Yes.
So yeah, you like to move nice and slow.
Yes. Slow and calm.
But yeah, she's right there. She's
Yeah,
big,
I'd be like,
she's
excuse
fat,
me, may we
she's
see the
beautiful.
larva?
She's gorgeous.
Yep.
Good job, everybody. But we're cool, so you don't have to worry.
Yep.
See how the bees calm down immediately?
Yes.
Very cool.
She's walking around.
The thing I went to, Ember, was like they had I think like 40,000 bees or something, and then they had like, they had all the bees. They weren't just like replacing the queen.
Looking for a place to lay.
Wow. I wondered how we'd be able to tell, but it's so obvious.
Yes, she's very, very different.
It's Samantha.
She's so big.
Bremerkamp.
That's the queen.
Yeah.
These are all workers.
Okay.
And I'm not seeing a drone on this frame.
Okay.
20. Yeah, I see only 28 subscribers.
I'll definitely be doing a close-up of this, of course, so that we can really see everything.
And then normally I would just put
What's
her
this
back
lady's
in.
name?
Right.
Because she's obviously
she's
here.
busy.
We saw larva. I'm sure if it was a sunnier day, I'd be able to see eggs and everything. And that's really all I need to do is she had everything in one area. It wasn't spotty. By spotty, I mean an egg here, an egg over here.
Right, okay.
They're doing their thing where the nectar is all on
And she's got a ton of videos, like tons.
the outside. Her brood's on the inside. So she's great.
That's so wonderful.
Oh, here's a drone. See how he's stockier?
Yes.
He's got huge eyes.
Yes.
And there's workers right next to him. Wow. You can see how different they are.
That is awesome.
Remember when Bethadone was drunk in the chat and she kept trying to get me to mail her one of those pineapple drinks, and I told her that I wasn't going to do it, and then finally she's like, you know, Mark, you know nothing about international drug trafficking.
Steps of this, so everybody gets to see. But right now, safety first.
Yeah. And the neat thing about
Goon to
drones
grannies
is
and
they
beasts.
can't
It can't
sting
all
you.
be gooner content.
So when learning to pick up bees for marking them and everything,
You start with those. So smart.
Practice on drones.
Oh, so smart.
It's great.
Oh, yes.
Let's
Perfect.
do a close-up to see where the queen is.
Sam's got us.
Will you point that out?
Oh, look at this.
I don't know if I can go.
Imagine this with Vinny's camera. My God.
Just walking. Oh, yes. Okay, awesome.
This is great. Look how well framed it is.
The one clone bee. I know he's a little clunkier. You might have disappeared.
Like the corners meet at the perfect
it's so fascinating. You can tell
limits
totally
of the
see who the
screen.
queen is. She's so much bigger. She has she doesn't have stripes on her backside.
And you'll see the hive pretty much is out of her way.
Yes.
She wants to
oh,
walk in,
royalty. Oh, wow.
And she'll go over them, under them.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, that's so cool.
I'm not seeing the drone right now.
I'm going to slowly go over and just point out the queen again. This is
Man,
so
this is
awesome.
really good footage.
So the queen is obviously in the middle, right there.
Correct.
Okay.
So she just stuck her head in. Oh, there she goes. She's laying an egg right now.
Oh, there's the queen.
Guys. She's laying an egg.
Yep.
I wanted to get more excited, but then I realized that I don't want them to get
Oh,
it.
look at this.
Stuck her head in, checked, saw that it was an empty cell. She moved forward, back to rear end.
Oh, wow.
And she just laid an egg.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
And then once she pulls out of the cell, her retinue, which is all these bees that are facing her, will clean her up.
Oh, wow.
Take care of her.
Wow. That is incredible.
Wow.
And then this right here is a drone.
Yes, slightly bigger. You said bigger eyes.
Yep.
So what are these?
I
bees
can't
called
believe
then?
we're able to
Those
see
these
this.
are the
What a
builders?
journey.
So these are worker bees.
Worker bees. I mean.
Yep.
Okay.
All of these females are worker
Collect.
bees.
Okay.
The boys are the drones. Okay. And then there's usually one queen. Every now and then you'll get two. And if they find each other, they will fight.
Oh my goodness.
Survival of the fittest.
Oh my goodness.
You hope that both don't get damaged.
Bee drama.
Oh wow. That
Oh,
must be
wow.
savage. Do the other bees get involved? Or do they let the queens decide?
Well, usually it's when there's queen cells, like they're getting ready to swarm. The first queen to emerge will go around and sabotage all the other cells.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's fascinating.
Every now and then she'll miss one, and then that queen will come out, and yes, it's savage.
I had no idea. That's awesome. So cool. So how long would a hive, I know this is a new hive, how long will they stay around?
They will stay around indefinitely, as long as all the conditions are correct. The queen will last, she'll be effective maybe 3 years.
Okay.
Once she goes out on her mating flights, she stores all of the reproductive material in her body. that she
If
will
you're not
leave. She won't
if
leave
you're
it
not threatening, the
unless
bees
she's
won't mess
going to
with you.
swarm or
I was in
the
that
collie's going to swarm or
40,000 bee
something.
swarm or whatever, and I
She
didn't
will
get
stay
I didn't
in
get
that
stung at
colony.
all, and I was in it for like 45
Now,
minutes.
she stays effective for that long. She can live up to 5 years, but once she starts declining in her egg production or anything like that, they will get rid of her themselves.
Wow.
They will rear a new queen.
Okay.
And they'll get rid of the old queen.
How do you rear a queen?
They'll take an egg, a very, very freshly laid egg within like 3 days, and they'll just
See,
start
she's a great
rearing
interviewer
that.
too. She's actually asking like good questions. I would be thinking about jumping Jim Brunzell.
They'll always be a royal jelly.
Wow. And that's how it'll get bigger?
Yes. That's how the other eggs, once after the 3 days, once the egg hatches, they start transitioning it to a honey and pollen mixture.
Oh my God.
So that's how the drones and the workers are produced.
So
it is. It's
bee
cool. Their
impeachment,
biology
bee
and
coups.
how they work is just so amazing.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Wow.
The chosen one.
Right?
Oh, that is so cool.
And there she goes again, laying another one.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe we get to see it.
Yep.
So cool. This is so cool.
It's funny because when she's in a cell like that, she looks just like any other bee. So when I'm inspecting, I don't even look for her anymore.
Yeah.
As long as I see eggs, I figure she's in there somewhere. She's good.
Right. Oh, wow. We are so lucky to be witnessing this.
Oh my
They're all
God.
can you
Wow.
And they're not always, like, she's a very light colored one. She's easy to spot. Sometimes they're darker. Sometimes
Finally,
they're
the
lighter.
algorithm sends me
vary.
a soothing,
They're
wholesome
just like
channel.
people.
Everything
Yeah,
else that soothes me is like dark and
That's
depressing.
amazing. And I know, what are you going to point out?
Nope.
Sorry. I know the odds of it being the same hive that
What
I
does
tried to have
happen
you
to the
guys
queen?
come to my house.
Yeah, no.
The old
It was
queen.
not going to be, but in my
Not this
mind,
far
I'm going
Yeah.
to
Does she gotta
pretend.
go,
That
or
was
can
just
she
a good
become
while
a?
the same day.
Yes.
Can they
And you can see over
declassify her?
here that they were collecting pollen
Yeah.
in addition to the nectar.
Oh, that's so cool. That's awesome.
And this is a really, really light nectar.
Okay.
The plants have different nectars, so sometimes it'll be really light, sometimes it'll be dark, sometimes when you open the hive, it'll smell like stinky gym socks.
Really?
Just based on the different flowers. Exactly.
That's what Eddie Kingston smelled like when he was
It
on
totally
the
makes
Indies.
sense, but that's so funny.
Yep. It really depends.
Yeah.
Oh, they kill her.
So
That's what's
this
great.
guy keeps crawling on everyone's head and then shaking his rumpus.
So
what is he doing?
they're doing a waggle dance.
Sure.
So they've found something.
Okay, he's very excited to
Yes,
share it.
exactly. That's how they communicate.
I love that.
So they've found something, whether it's food, and they're
how fun.
she's trying to tell everybody, and there's somebody over here that's found something else.
How fun.
They try to get other people really, really excited,
Yeah.
so that they follow them and go out. That's also how
Oh,
they
wow.
decide when they're
Brutal.
swarming where to go. They have a bunch of scout bees that go out and come back, and whoever gets them excited the most, that's where they decide to go.
That's great.
Courtney had finished
Yeah, you can see
her
there's a whole bunch
cycle,
of
and
them
Ben
that are wagging
tried to
up.
get rid of her.
Oh, they have some.
Now
really-
Grace is trying to
dances
begin
that they
her
do depending
birthing cycle
on
with the
what
war
the
chief.
information is.
Yes, exactly.
It could be
Circle
like
of
an erratic
life,
one
even
if
on
there's
Boyd.
danger, or there's like, hey, I'm so excited, there's a flower.
Yeah, usually it's the flowers
Yep.
and where to go.
Oh my God, this is so cool.
It's amazing.
Now, with the danger part, as long as we don't smell bananas, which is the most bizarre scent, that's their alarm pheromone, and it smells like artificial banana flavor.
Yeah.
Huh?
And
that is good
that's
to know.
when you know you need
Artificial.
to
So if you smell gym socks, you're good. But if you smell fake
Wow.
banana,
But yeah, they're
Get
really
out.
nice and calm. So
Yeah, well, they love it here. They knew.
Yeah.
I noticed you have like honeysuckle trees everywhere, which is
Yes.
very smart.
Yeah. It's not the greatest plant to have around because it's invasive, but the
Yeah, but
we
the
need a
bees love
catchy
it. Yeah,
rhyme
that's all
for
it
that.
matters.
You know what I mean?
and
I think anything that like helps pollinators. Yeah. I
Yes.
noticed you're able to pack these pretty tightly because they know how to move around it, and that is what they naturally do, right?
Yes, that was something that was discovered by Reverend Langstroth.
Cool.
From Philadelphia.
Cool.
Yes.
Philadelphia
he
area.
Spent so much time just observing bees and discovered there's something that he termed bee space.
Okay.
And
that's amazing.
Too much bee space, they make comb. Too little bee space, they can't get through.
Right. Okay.
And just came up with.
I think I can learn a lot from Sam's interview style because we have kind of we're both reactionary, but like she's a better listener than me.
Hive.
She's a more patient listener than me.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Hello. Hello, friends. Yes. Hello.
And yeah, as long as you move deliberately and slowly, they're
Mr.
very,
Miyagi.
I always try to tell people who are walking and a bee goes near them and they start to spaz out, and I'm like, that is the worst thing you can do.
Exactly.
Who are you talking to off camera? Why aren't they running a handheld?
Yeah. Most times when they're out, they're doing a job, and they are so focused on what they want to do.
Yeah.
We have a pond over there, and you'll be walking through, and they'll run into you just because they're going.
Yeah, there's got to be a third person, right?
They're like, that is not. Excuse me, I have a job to do. Yeah, they're wonderful. Well, that's amazing. So a brand new hive showed up magically the same day I tried to give a hive in my yard, and
that was wild.
They love it here. So how long until you would be able to maybe harvest some honey?
Oh shit! My chat
it depends on so many factors.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it depends on the honey flow or the nectar flow, which is what we're in right now. All the plants are blooming. The honeysuckle, as you can see, black locust.
Well, I think it's me said earlier that he would like to see you kind of expand on your ideas.
Just finished, and then the plants, different plants will come and go.
I did not smoke at the bee colony.
Blooming in one area at one time is what they like.
I was extremely high though.
They will go to a whole section of honeysuckle.
Okay.
And then finish that, and then they'll go to something else. But they like all of one thing at one time.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah.
So it really depends. This rain really ended the black locust early.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just the way it happens.
Yeah.
And it will really depend on that kind of thing. We'll start harvesting usually around the 4th of July.
Okay.
The bees knew that I was
typically
neutral,
have
so
everything
they didn't
drawn
fuck with
out.
me.
All of the cells are capped.
Wow, yeah.
That's what we're looking for, is to make sure everything's capped and the caps are dry. And then if we're lucky, we'll get another harvest in fall.
Very cool.
So we try to do it in July before the lanternflies are doing their honeydew, which there is a market for that. It just has a funky, smoky flavor to it.
Really? I didn't
The
know
Thorpes
that
aren't
they could
watching
make
this.
honey.
They do, yeah. It's really attractive to the bees because it's sweet. It's really, really sweet. So the bees love it.
Yeah.
But for humans,
Yeah,
it
they're
just has a
super-
really, you either love it or hate it type of thing.
Oh, interesting.
It's like buckwheat
no
honey.
idea.
You either
Okay.
love it or you hate it.
Right, because it's very, very specific.
Yes. Yeah, it's very, very distinctive and strong.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
And we're learning so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's so many
I'm sure
different
there's so many
facets
more
to it.
things. Oh, yeah.
And the colonies are like kids. Each one has their different temperaments, their different personalities. They grow at different rates.
Yeah. Very cool. They're different sizes. and
Exactly.
Very, very cool.
And we have colonies that are doing different things. Some of them are drawing comb for us. Some are collecting pollen for us.
Thing.
So
It's just whatever their specific hive is like into focusing on.
correct. We try to steer them in certain directions.
See, this is a real, not to be a hater, but this is like a real apiary, it looks like, or at least this person's dedicated a lot of space. The one I went to was just like, I think 2 colonies that were just like behind somebody's house. So I just
Well,
randomly
obviously,
went to
these are in good
somebody's
hands.
house, like
Well, thank
completely
you so much
blitzed
for
and
this
refusing
part.
all
So
safety
awesome.
equipment.
Americana Apiary, Wednesdays at the Leesport Farmers Market. You can hang out with one of these awesome people or get other things too, I'm sure. Buy their honey, okay. Yeah. Thank you. In the fascinating world of honey, most of us think of the liquid gold variety.
Okay.
That is easy to pour into tea, over desserts, into baking, what have you. But a lot of us have also experienced, you know, by no fault of our own, honey crystallizing. And to some people, that could be off-putting. Even though it's still completely edible and it's easier to spread, you could just start spreading it on buttered toast or something. But if you take about...
I will say, though, I felt like they did have a generous refreshment area. Like, there was, like, some individually wrapped, like, Little Debbie cakes, and then there were also, like, some Hostess treats, and then some sodas. So it was pretty good from a refreshment standpoint.
About a pint or so of crystallized honey, or regular honey, and put it in a standing mixer, and mix it on high for 20 minutes, you will get whipped butter. You can do so many fun things with it by adding different types of flavors to it, too, to enhance it, which we learn all about.
Look at this kitchen, man.
At Americana Apiary.
Wow.
And the consistency ends up looking more like this. Is that a finger mark for me? Yes, of course it is. Of course. This variety...
Laughing Cedar, the guy that was running the one that I went to that was 2 colonies, said that the setup was the hardest part, and that as long as you were like halfway, like, you know, mindful of checking in at certain key points along the way, and even those were kind of forgiving, that like it was pretty much a passive thing. It's what he said.
Caramel. Which is delicious.
And he wasn't selling anything either. Like, it wasn't like he didn't sell any of the stuff. He just showed everybody the thing. Like, showed everybody the hives or the colonies or whatever.
But my favorite kind of whipped honey, and the first I'd ever tasted, is actually from Americana Apiary. And you're going to learn all about that.
Yeah, this kitchen is pretty fire, man.
Part 2 of the Field Trip Edition. But in the meantime, get sampling. Hit up the farmers markets. Definitely try Americana Apiary because their honey is delicious, and Kim and Dave are super cool and taught us all of these things for a 2-part special. But also, it's really important.
Oh yeah, ATF Media. Don't forget, buddy. There's a part 2 to this. We don't have time today. We'll share that another day. But
local.
Part 2 incoming.
Why not go out and sample? It tastes delicious on cheese if you're doing a charcuterie board. Obviously, in tea. In baking, focaccia bread, by the way, is started with a little bit of honey. There are so many things that you can do with it. Why not get started today? No, it's not over, friends. We do have a second part, but we have run out of time. So, first of all, let me introduce
Doggo.
Our new baby Cordelia, who's super jazzed.
Do it on Saturday with the rest of the crap you don't show up for.
To continue.
We can't. They're too long for those days. Only Tony Yeoman gets a half an hour on Boyd Watch.
Learning all about how to make honey, which she has never had, but I'm sure she would love if she had the chance. Plus all the different things that you can do with honey and where you can get it if you don't.
Let's talk about this. Oh, look at this. Look at this, guys. Trad mania running wild.
Feel like going out into nature and fighting with bees. But for those of you who have the space, perhaps this could pique your
What is that
interest,
dumb container?
And you could maybe start
the hand grenade
your own bees and collecting your own honey or wax and making really awesome soaps or candles. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next week at 9 p.m. on BCTV for part 2 of the Field Trip Edition.
On what TV?
Apiary. It's nap time for us.
Man, I say whatever. Cordelia. I thought it was a great video. I thought it was really well made. It was on a topic. Now, if it was a topic I wasn't as interested in, you know, maybe I wouldn't have connected with it so much. Let's see what's in my algorithm. Okay, the 1983 film Christine. Jim Cornette's thoughts on WWE AAA Worlds Collide. Jedi Joy's morning walk through Times Square. Fit Finley interview. Oh, look at, here's part 2 to the apiary. Day 4 recap. Clash of the Champions. Another apiary video. Here we go again, a pig video. Sean Mooney. Another bee video, and Scott Steiner. Well, that's not too bad. All right, well, I'm going to go. Now, here's the heavy news, guys. I'm not going to be here tomorrow. I waited till the end to tell you. I knew you'd be very heartbroken. But I'm going to spend the morning with the Methadone Clinic. So I don't know what's going to happen content-wise. But anyway, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. But I'll be back Thursday for Primetime, Friday for Memphis, and Saturday for Boyd Watch and all the other crap that ATF Media doesn't show up for. But thank you guys for showing up for this one. And hopefully I'll see you soon.